One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm sorry, Sid. Hi.
Oh, God, don't be sorry. You kidding me?
No, I'm wrapped up in these meetings on peace. And I said, it's between peace and Sid Rosenberg. And I said, let's take Rosenberg, okay? So.
Maeve looked like he shut his eyes for a long period of time during one part of that game.
I was with him the whole time.
He did not fall asleep.
We were talking the whole time.
I'm just
unless he was sleep talking. He wasn't. He was very much awake. He was very much engaged.
Okay.
Right. Look. That's the first sitting president of the United States to ever go to an NBA Finals. Yeah. That is a huge honor, right? And he's a New Yorker. And whatever you think about him, he's a Knicks fan, and people want to hear this. I think he's a great guy. Right? And I love.
And you've known him a long time,
right? I've known him for over 30 years, So, but I'm not going to go on this show and start espousing the president. I'll just say that having him there was a great honor, right? And and I enjoyed sitting with him, right? And he asked me a lot of questions.
Were you guys talking basketball?
Yeah, we're talking basketball.
To be a fly on that wall, that'd be great.
He knows basketball.
Begin tonight with breaking news, the major escalation in the Middle East. Late today, the U.S. launching a new wave of strikes on multiple targets across Iran. U.S. Central Command says the attacks are in response to, quote, Iran's unwarranted and continued aggression. In the Oval Office today, President Trump vowing the strikes would come within hours. Earlier, Iran targeted American military bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan, along with the downing of a U.S. helicopter. Tonight, a top Iranian official is threatening to expand the war against the U.S. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leads us off.
Tonight, the U.S. military unleashing a new wave of attacks across Iran, following through with a threat President Trump made from the Oval Office just hours before.
We're going to be attacking them and attacking them very hard.
Multiple U.S. strikes reported against several targets, and Iran claiming it is targeting U.S. forces in the region, in addition saying it has completely closed the Strait of Hormuz, which the U.S. denies. The president huddled with top members of his national security team ahead of the strikes, discussing the scope and possible impact on negotiations. And the U.S. making clear the attacks could continue to force Iran to a negotiated deal. This comes just some 24 hours after U.S. fighter jets targeted nearly 20 Iranian sites, including radar and air defense systems, in retaliation for the downing of that U.S. Apache helicopter. Iran releasing unverified video claiming to show the strikes also damaged critical civilian water reservoirs. CENTCOM tonight saying they are looking into the report. Iran's response to the retaliatory U.S. strikes was swift, launching multiple ballistic missiles and drones towards U.S. bases in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan. No injuries or damage was reported. But tonight, a top Iranian official threatening to expand the war, saying of the U.S., we are not afraid of fighting losers. And President Trump renewing his threat to target Iran's power plants and bridges, and making clear that the retaliatory strikes would have been even greater had the pilots of the Apache helicopter been killed.
Got very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode.
President Trump warning Iran will pay the price for taking too long to negotiate a peace deal.
They keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers.
Lindsay, whether these strikes will force Iran to the negotiating table is unclear, but with this new wave of attacks ongoing, what does seem clear tonight is that this ceasefire appears to be over for now.
East Rutherford, New Jersey, getting ready to host its first World Cup match this Saturday.
Can't believe it's already here. Fox 5's Arthur Chan got a tour of the stadium today and joins us live from there now. Arthur, does everything look like it's ready to go?
It looks like this is no longer a football stadium, Natasha and Steve. It looks like it's a football stadium, if that's the right way to say it. After taking a walk around, it really looks like for the 8 matches that are coming to this area that they are totally ready for it.
Call it a golden opportunity, if you will. Fox 5 got a full tour of MetLife Stadium, which has been completely transformed into New Jersey, New York Stadium, hosting the FIFA World Cup. From the players' locker room to the tunnel they walk out of to the actual pitch.
It's probably 100-fold since 1994, and also compared to an NFL event or even a stadium concert, this is 100-fold compared to that.
Because the event is massive, parking is pushed out and attendees are encouraged to take NJ Transit, for which they've boxed out a temporary bus terminal in their parking lot. And for NFL fans, if they feel the grass seems greener on the World Cup soccer side, it's because it is real grass, that is, and not artificial turf. Shipped up from Charlotte, North Carolina in refrigerated units.
Now, there's another major difference between NFL football games and what's going to be happening here, and that is excitement that fans can interact and connect with outside before a game, tailgating, or after a game, celebrating. For the next month, during the World Cup games here, there will be none of that.
Was it the mayor's office or NYPD or both of them combined?
We love the NYPD.
Yep.
We know the captains. We know the chiefs. Right. They can handle this. They don't need this. Right. And if you ask them and they were able to answer unfettered, they would tell you they can handle this,
yes.
etc. It's really the mayor's office. Right. I cannot explain their decisions on this, but it makes absolutely no sense at all. And the real reason that I, called you up just this afternoon to say, look, I want to come down, is because I know there's a lot of people, right, who are in their cars right now, right, and who are headed down to the Garden and to the Midtown area. And I'm just telling you, as much time as you've allotted, you have not allotted enough time. Because the restrictions that are being put on this area, I mean, like I said, you would think we were guarding, right?
Fort Knox.
Well, we are guarding an alien, but I mean, like Fort Knox, it's incredible. Even if you come by train or by subway, they're not letting you up. Yep. They're going to push you outside of the forbidden zone and make you come through magnetometers, and you're going to have to show that you have a reason to be there, right? And this is all really designed around stopping people from celebrating around Madison Square Garden. That's what this is about.
Why would the mayor's office not want people to do what they've done without any major incident? There's been a couple of things happen.
Well, there was what happened in Bryant Park, but Bryant Park was not our party.
No, I know.
Bryant Park was the mayor's party.
Sure.
Now, why people acted up at the mayor's party, I don't know.
Because you lost.
But could be it. Right. But that's not. That's not Madison Square Garden. We've had tens and tens of thousands of people celebrating outside of Madison Square Garden. The mayor's office, and I'm sorry, the commissioner too, right, do not have the experience to do this, right?
That's Mayor Mamdani and Jessica Tisch, who's the police commissioner.
I mean, they have never managed anything like this before, and it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's coming out the sides, and I think that's part of. We're seeing a lot of fear from the mayor's office, a lot of anxiety. They're sitting there trying to say, well, we're big Knicks fans, but they're not Knicks fans.
He called the Garden a stadium. How big a Knicks fan is he?
He's not a Knicks fan.
Kicks it out in the corner. Brunson gets it back. Brunson on the drive. The floater's up. Shot won't go. Rebound deflected in the backcourt. Fox has a chance to get it. Fox has it inside. Blocked by Anunoby. 9 seconds remaining. 6 seconds remaining. And Mike Brown, or they call a foul. They had a foul to give. So the Knicks will have to inbound.
It might just go flat for Jalen Brunson, allow him to operate at the top, 101.
Brunson gets it, fires up a three. Shot no good, the tip, it's gone! It's gone! It's gone! With 1.2 remaining, Knicks take the lead. OG Anunoby, and it's 107-106. believe it. Brunson's shot looked good and just came up short. No timeouts left. They have to get it in. Harper lobs it inside. Castle hasn't lost it. That's it. It's over. The greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. The Knicks pull off the miracle comeback and lead it 3-1. Now 1 win away from a title.
Take us through the game-winning play, the inbounds and the tip-in.
Got the ball to Jalen. He got a good look, and I just crashed and went for the ball.
You make it sound so easy, but tell me what's going through your mind as it's all unfolding.
Oh, just do whatever it takes to win, you know? I mean, our thing is crashing. I love you, man. Our thing is crashing the glass and second chance opportunities, so I just try to make a play.
OG, how did this happen? You guys were down 29. How did this happen?
We're resilient, you know? We never give up, you know? It's a game of runs. They went on a run early. We knew we were going to go on our own run, so we just stayed with it, kept pushing.
29 points, though. When you're down 29, what were you guys saying to each other?
Just stay with it, you know? It's a game of runs. We believe in ourselves. We've come back before. We're battle-tested. We're mentally, we're tough. We're a resilient group, so we just stay with it.
When you took the lead in the fourth quarter, what did this building feel like to you? We know what it felt like for us. What did it feel like for you?
It's electric. There's nothing like it. I mean, you see the fans, best fans in the world. It's amazing.
3-1 series lead going to San Antonio. How do you close it out in Texas?
By watching the film, fixing the stuff we messed up on to be down 29 in the first place, and coming out and just being aggressive from the start.
Congratulations to you, OG.
Don't stop believing. That's basically what OG Anunoby said to Lisa Salters at the end of the game. We just never stopped believing. Journey. Of course, the last song you heard, too, before your screen went completely black 27 years ago. Well, that wasn't the case. Sopranos started 27 years ago. But at the end of that series, this song came on. Your screen went black. But don't stop believing. That's the Knicks. You know, down by 22 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That was in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go. They came back and won that game with a very impressive overtime period. And last night, down 29 points, 27 at the half, 29, 3 minutes into the second half. And they come back and win. The game really turned for the Knicks in their favor. Spurs up by 29, and Wembanyama picks up a flagrant foul on Towns. He hits the free throw. He makes the score 81-53. Did you hear that, folks? 81-53. Cuts the lead to 28. But after that Wemby flagrant foul, the Knickerbockers started this improbable, to some of us, impossible run to win the game. My buddy sent me a text this morning. He said, you know, a lot of people say, a wise man said, you put on an NBA game in the final minute and you see everything you need to see. And for me, that's just not true. That's true in terms of, yes, you saw De'Aaron Fox make one of the most boneheaded plays in the history of sports. When Brunson misses that shot with 11 seconds left and you've got possession of the basketball and a 1-point lead, you do not take the ball down court and put up a shot. You don't do that. You stand there, you get fouled. Hopefully you make both free throws. You're up by 3, and now a Knick basket can't beat you. In fact, the Knicks need a 3 just to tie. So De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio this morning must feel a lot like Scott Norwood after the Bills kicker missed a field goal to beat the Giants in the Super Bowl, or Bill Buckner, as Mookie Wilson's ground ball went underneath his legs. Just a terrible move by a very good veteran player. De'Aaron Fox has to know better. Now, look, OG still has to block that shot, which he did, and then go down the other end of the court and tip in the Brunson miss to win the game. So, two things at play here. Fox makes a real bad blunder, really bad, costs his team the game, but OG with heroics on both ends of the court, defensively and offensively, to win the game for the Knicks. So you got a bad flagrant foul from Wemby, a stupid move by De'Aaron Fox. So San Antonio, they kind of unraveled themselves, allowing the Knicks to make this improbable comeback, and the Knicks win the game. I've been watching basketball a long time. I've been a Knick fan my whole life, and I've watched the NBA my whole life. I love the NBA. Not as much as I used to because I'm old. Anybody in my generation that watches hoops will all say the same thing. Well, this Knick run is magical. It's ours. It's our team. It's our city. Nobody who's my age, and I'm almost 60, would compare today's NBA to the 80s, when you had Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. The list goes on and on. But regardless, all those years I've been watching this game, I've never seen anything like I've seen, not just last night, but for the most part, this whole run by the Knicks. Now, they lost Game 3. We know that. They didn't play well. And that continued into Game 4. I mean, I'm sitting there and laying in bed down 27 at the half going, wow, we're done. I'm not going to lie to you. Don't Stop Believing by Journey. I stopped believing. I'm like, they're going to kill us again tonight. And you can't blame President Trump, although I did get a text from Stephen A. Smith. I'm not kidding you. In fact, I got about 5 texts from Stephen A. yesterday. He didn't stop texting me all day. He was so happy that Trump called him out, even though Trump called him a moron, said he's got the IQ of a box of rocks. He didn't care. He loved it. He did what he wanted to do, Stephen A., which was garner the president's attention. And he told me before the game that the Knicks lose, he would continue to blame Donald Trump. But if the Knicks win, he would put it to rest. Really dumb. So I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, Stephen A. is going to go off tomorrow, and now we got to go back to San Antonio. Been reduced to a best of 3. We've only got 1 home game left. All these horrible scenarios of we're going from a ticker tape parade to another crushing Knick loss, whether it's a Charles Smith missed putback against the Bulls or Patrick Ewing's finger rolling out against Indiana. Countless stories and situations that I've watched where the Knickerbockers let a win go in really heartbreaking fashion. And here we go again. And then it starts. That's why when this guy texted me this morning, watch the last minute, I couldn't disagree more because there's context. You ought to see the Knicks fight, like just fight to shave that lead and put themselves in a position where a San Antonio mental mistake and 2 great plays on both ends of the court by OG would get them the win. What fun is it to just put it on and see them? You have no idea what they had to go through. You know, my old partner Bernard, God rest his soul, used to say, it's hard to achieve pleasure without a bunch of pain. And he's right.
I like it.
It was painful watching the Knicks. But then as they continue to dig their way out of it, now you've got the context. Now you've seen this team not quit. One thing to read about it, yeah, they came back 22 against Cleveland, 29 against San Antonio, but to watch it and to think, oh my God, we got a chance to win was just remarkable. So now the Knicks have a 3-1 lead. Now, they've got a chance to wrap this thing up. Saturday night is Game 5. It's not Friday. It's Saturday in San Antonio, Texas. But in and around all those Knick highlights, I used 3 cuts this morning from what I thought was a great interview that my dear friend Craig Carton did on WFAN yesterday, Chris and C-Mac, with Knicks owner Jimmy Dolan. In fact, Craig is going to join me coming up in about 20 minutes. What a great guest to start it off this morning with the guy that interviewed Dolan yesterday in the Knick win. And Dolan, I thought, was good and bad. I don't know what Dolan was talking about when it came to criticizing Jessica Tisch and the police. I think Dolan wants these parties, even though he did the right thing. Who was yelling and screaming for days, Noam, they must cancel these watch parties?
That would be you.
That'll be me. Well, they didn't do that. I believe there was a watch party at Woolman Rink last night. I believe there was one in Brooklyn at that bowling alley. But Dolan did cancel the MSG watch party, despite MSG wanting to do it, which really pissed off the mayor. But, you know, I don't think Dolan's really paying attention. I love Jim. I thought Jim was amazing. He's not paying attention. Because if he was, he would understand that, Craig too. Craig said, well, a couple things happened. It's worse than that. We had nearly 30 arrests after Game 2 in San Antonio, and that was not a Knick loss. That was a Knick win. And the New Yorkers still couldn't behave themselves. Nearly 30 arrests. Then, yes, Game 3, Monday night, Bryant Park, Knick fans lost total control. Not even Knick fans. Raging New Yorkers lost control again, nearly 30 arrests. But even last night, and maybe Jimmy needs to see the tapes of this, after that unbelievable Knick win, you would think everybody was in a great mood for the third consecutive night in New York, or third consecutive game night, I should say. There were more arrests. So I've been yelling for days. New York, in my opinion, has lost the right to party. So I disagree with Jim. He's holding Jessica Tisch's feet to the fire. Now, look, you guys know I'm in the bag. I love Jessica. We're very close. We spoke yesterday. Sorry, Mamdani, but I talked to Jessica Tisch, and we spoke yesterday. Had a very, very serious conversation about what we may be facing with 3 million people in the Canyon of Heroes. I think she's doing a tremendous job. In fact, I'm going to tell Jim and Craig that if not for Jessica Tisch, who knows what this city may look like. If you think it's been bad, and it's been bad, worse than Dolan put it on the fan yesterday, it would be exponentially worse if not for Jessica Tisch. So that was the only part of the interview which I didn't really understand. Are you watching what's going on out there? I mean, no, you do the news every morning. It's violent. It's nasty. It's embarrassing. I keep saying I don't want to be L.A. and Detroit, but after every game, win or lose, we seem to be that way.
Well, maybe Craig can clear this up, because I did listen to the interview this morning. He did a great job. But James Dolan called it a police state. So I wasn't sure what he was trying. That's when he pulled the plug on those screens outside the watch party. But it was because he said that he wanted more people to be able to enjoy the aftermath or during the game outside the Garden. I mean, I think that was the point he was making. It was a little confusing.
It was confusing. But you know what wasn't confusing? It's something I've been saying from the very beginning. And again, I'm going to shine the spotlight on me. Boomer Esiason gets a lot of hits because WFAN's a big deal. And oftentimes he just repeats what I say. Whether it was the Jackson Dart Abdul Carter situation or the Knicks, there has been nobody in this city, and I mean nobody, come on guys, who's been more adamant about the fact that the mayor and the governor, bucktooth wicked witch Kathy Hochul, are phonies and liars, that neither one of them are Knick fans. Do I not complain about that after every game dating all the way back to the Hawks series? Do I not know?
Yeah, well, you've been saying about Mayor Mamdani from the beginning of the playoffs.
From the very beginning against Atlanta, when this lying sack of garbage is out there wearing John Starks jerseys and talking about the Knicks. And I didn't need Mamdani to say that basketball teams play games in stadiums, which of course is moronic. It's really embarrassing, actually. No, they play soccer in stadiums, Dick Bass. They play basketball in arenas. I didn't need him to say that for me to know that he's not really a Knick fan. Or Kathy Hochul telling us that the Knicks won the NBA championship in 1993 when they won it 20 years prior. And I know that politicians in every city do this. They hop on and look at my city. But they're both embarrassing. They're both embarrassing. It was so great to hear the owner of the New York Knicks, Whoopi Goldberg, the other day, that idiot on The View. She actually defended President Trump. I played it. I was in shock. She defended President Trump. But when she did it, you may remember this, Noam, she found a way to include Mamdani. She said, the mayor and the president are both big Knick fans. She's an idiot. Mamdani is not a Knick fan. He can't tell you anything about the history of our organization. Trust me. He knows nothing. He's not a Knick fan. And Hochul, every bit as bad. So Dolan called out the mayor for not being a Knick fan. That was so good. I think it was cut 3 where he did this. Let's play it again. This is Jim Dolan with Craig and C-Mac, courtesy of WFAN, saying that the mayor, he's not a Knicks fan. Cut number 3.
The mayor's office, and I'm sorry, the commissioner too, right, do not have the experience to do this. Right.
That's Mayor Mamdani and Jessica Tisch, who's the police commissioner.
I mean, they have never managed anything like this before, and it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's coming out the sides.
That's funny.
And I think that's part of. We're seeing a lot of fear from the mayor's office, a lot of anxiety. They're sitting there trying to say, well, we're big Knicks fans, but they're not Knicks fans.
He called the Garden a stadium. How big a Knicks fan is he?
He's not a Knicks fan.
Thank you. He's not a Knicks fan. So he was all furious last night, tweeting like a madman, Mamdani, that Jim Dolan canceled the MSG watch party. Oh, excuse me. But he said not to worry because I guess they put the game on all these linked sites across the city. I don't even know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about there?
I thought that they were just paying for the screens outside the Garden, but maybe they have connections to the other ones too. I
think they do. I don't know. I really don't care. Mamdani was not there last night. He was not there. I guess somebody reminded him that there's a lot going on. And, oh, God, could we shut this? Oh, I got to look at Errol Lewis, this racist jerk-off.
Takes up the whole screen.
Oh, his head takes up the whole screen. He's another guy that knows nothing about nothing, Knicks and basketball. And he's sitting here right now going on and on, talking to Pat Kiernan about the Knicks and Jim Dolan and Mamdani. I mean, so many people in this city that are in the media that talk like they know stuff, and they know nothing. They know nothing. You guys have no idea, right? I don't have the majority of the audience every morning. I've got a huge audience. For an AM news talk station, I have no right having this audience. But it does speak to how great the show is. But I don't have the majority of New Yorkers listening to me. You got a bunch of idiots out there that you're watching on TV and listening to. They know nothing. Errol Lewis, yeah, he knows who's running for comptroller. He knows who's running for some city council seat. He does know the intricacies of New York politics. I'll give him that. He's biased. He's a raging liberal, but he does know that stuff. But he knows nothing about the Knicks or Jim Dolan or any of this stuff. Here's the next thing, too. Shut up, Lou.
This whole thing over watch parties.
I know, it's so stupid.
Absolutely
watch parties.
Don't you have to stand there the whole time?
You got to stand the whole time.
Okay, what is the appeal
I don't know. It's stupid. It's stupid.
I'm missing something.
I convinced my son, Gabriel, and his little buddy led there last night to stay home with me and watch the game, which they did. They did go out to the city Monday night. It was hell. It was craziness. So we go to La Sorrentina for dinner. This is about 7 o'clock last night. And the pregame comes on. And ABC's got, the crew, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith. And then I notice this is the pregame show, okay? They're talking about the Knicks and the Spurs. Who's sitting there with these guys, former NBA Hall of Fame superstars and champs, talking about the game? Ben Stiller. Come on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Come on. I mean, it's one thing for Channel 7 Eyewitness News, those two doofuses to put Ben Stiller on, but you're going to sit Ben Stiller?
Well, he is a fan.
What?
Well,
he's going to do the game with Barkley and Shaq, the pregame show? Because he's a fan?
No,
that's nonsense.
They got to fill the time. They got it. Come on.
Ben Stiller? You're telling me that basketball fans want to hear? This is not the New York feed. This is now the national feed. You got Shaq, you got Barkley, you got Ernie Johnson. You think they want to hear from Ben Stiller?
It was ESPN, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, they had McEnroe.
Another one. I complained about that, too. I'm like, come on already.
Well, you don't like Johnny Mack?
I love John Mack. I don't hear him talking about basketball. Bring him on in the U.S. I know he goes to every game. I know he's a big fan. What I'm saying is we're paying too much attention to these celebrities. I don't care. I don't need to see Jerry Seinfeld's face every time the Knicks make a play. I mean, and he's throwing his hands up in the air, Seinfeld, like he just made a defensive stop. Right. It's ridiculous. And Taylor Swift, wait a second.
Okay,
Was she not sitting with Travis Kelce at a Nick Cavalier game?
She was.
Rooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Last night she's got a Knicks shirt on, pulling out it. Yeah, New York. And I'm told, well, she lived here. So what?
Who cares? Right.
But why do you care about Stiller? I don't care about any of them. I'm sick of all of them. The one guy that I will give a little bit of leeway to is the guy I like the least. But he is Mr. Nick, and that's Spike Lee. Spike Lee. I don't think Ben Stiller is here in the middle of the winter when the Knicks are playing the Charlotte Bobcats, the Hornets, whatever they call them now. He ain't there. Spike Lee's there. Spike Lee's there. I don't think Timothy Chalamet is there when the Knicks are taking on the Washington Wizards in December.
He just started showing.
Yeah, so I don't need to see it. Enough. Yes, for New York City, we get really cool, famous people showing up at the games. Now, you're going to say, Sid, you're just jealous, and you'd be right. Okay. But I'm just tired of it. I just, Ben Stiller and John McEnroe on the ESPN pregame show?
Well, John McEnroe has been one of the best competitors in sports.
God, shut up. Guy hasn't picked up a tennis racket in 40 years. My God.
Well, I mean, New York City loves the guy. You know that.
No, I love the guy, too. All I'm saying is I don't need to see these people on an ESPN pregame show for the NBA Finals because they show up at the game because they've got money. And they've got fame, and they show up at the game. That puts them on television. Okay. I don't need to see it.
Okay, I don't need to see the dirtiest player I've probably ever seen in basketball on the panel, and you're going to see him for years to come because he's gone. Draymond Green.
Oh, I can't stand him.
He is a terrible person.
I totally agree.
Terrible
But he's won a bunch of championships alongside Steph Curry.
Yeah, well.
So he's got the experience, and his championships are recent.
Right.
They're recent.
I get it.
Some of these other guys on that panel, they have in the level, they won a championship, and Thomas Jefferson was president. I mean, geez.
When we had the $3 bill, you mean?
Yeah, we had the $3 bill, exactly.
I don't, all of a sudden, they got Draymond Green on there.
No, I can't stand him either. He may be the biggest dick in the league. You know, I started thinking about this last night, too. I'm going to ask Craig about this when he comes on here soon. So here's the big issue we've got. And I know we do news and news talk, and look, people are still very interested in Iran, right? I mean, I got people listening in Israel right now and every morning that are scared to death. And Americans are nervous too. So the Iran thing, you can't minimize what that means to world peace. It's a big deal, the economy, all of it. But I'm Sid Rosenberg. I came to WABC with 17 years of sports talk experience, including 5 legendary years at WFAN. So if the Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs in Texas on Saturday night, we're all going to wake up on Sunday morning, and the Knicks will be celebrating their first championship in 53 years. And no disrespect to the Rev or the Rabbi or anybody else. Who the hell is going to be listening to this station Sunday morning when the Knicks win the championship? Yeah, John, I'm being honest, okay? I'm being honest. So now the question is, and the fans got the same issue, right? Carton doesn't work on Sundays. Boomer doesn't work on Sundays. Benigno doesn't work on Sundays. So what do?
Well, they might switch their schedule.
They probably will.
Yeah.
I'm sending it out there, John and Chad. You may want to pay me a lot of money for me to come in for a couple of hours on Sunday because we're going to get murdered in this city if we're talking about another Trump threat to Iran and the Knicks are celebrating a world championship. Is that fair? Is that not a decent programming mention?
There's only one story in New York right now.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if they win it on a Sunday morning, we're not going to talk about it? How are we going to do that? Or talk about it from a periphery? I mean, they gotta offer me a ton of money, no? Don't you think, no?
How much?
We can talk about that. That's right. It's called negotiations.
Well, Dick Morris has good thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Dick Morris.
I'd like to hear his
Come
take,
on. I'd like to hear
Come
it too.
Come on.
Hey, look, you're up, you're down. That's how politics goes. And that's, it's just like basketball. Look how the Knicks played. You're up, you're down. And
I'm just saying. Looking forward to talk to Craig about all that. Okay, so before Carton comes on, Trump did it again. He's threatening Iran. We're going to hit him. We're going to hit him hard. We hit about 20 different spots last night. I guess it was mostly the radar systems, and although the Iranians are claiming that we messed up their water. Is that right, Noam?
Yeah, none of this can be really confirmed because it all happened overnight. But yeah, Iran responded with these wave of attacks on targets at bases in, I think it was Kuwait and Bahrain.
But they didn't touch Israel last night.
No.
My daughter Ava is still there until Tuesday. I'm supposed to go to Israel a week from today, so I'm scared to death for my daughter. I'm wondering if I'm even going to get there a week from today. They didn't touch Israel, but you're right. Bahrain, and Kuwait, and was that it? Not Egypt.
Well, and then
no, not Egypt. I'm sorry, Jordan.
Yeah. So Jordan said they shot down maybe 20 missiles that were launched from Iran early this morning, and then Iran also said that they're closing down the Strait of Hormuz to everybody.
Right. Trump said they can't do that.
Yeah, but the U.S. military is still there.
No, I know. Believe me, I know.
So it's all, some of this is hard to confirm because it just happened the last couple hours, but clearly they were trading lots of missiles overnight.
Yeah. What else? Anything else going on? That's because we'll do a lot of Nick talk today. We'll do Iran talk. We'll do Mamdani because I hate him, and Hochul. What else?
It's really the Knicks. I mean, I could give you some of these small-time stories, but they're just not as
I'm not
interesting as that headline.
I don't care about people getting shot in Trenton, New Jersey. That happens every day.
No, I wasn't.
It'd be like making a big deal about somebody getting murdered in Chicago. You nuts? Big shooting in Trenton, New Jersey. No kidding.
Everything else I have here is so incredibly tragic. I don't even want to do it.
Well, the one story you did this morning, which doesn't make sense on this show because we, we're kind of bigger than it, but it is the terrible. You actually had me crying in the bathroom. Was a little kid who choked to death in school.
I was crying when I was writing that story.
Oh my God!
Because everybody
was he
can
a
relate
sixth
to
grader?
It. 12 years old. He's from the Justice Sonia Sotomayor Community School. It's up in Yonkers, and it was about 12 o'clock yesterday. He started to choke, and they brought everybody in to try to help him. And unfortunately,
teachers, school nurse.
Yes, I mean it was terrible. And
so he died right there.
Yeah, they tried to resuscitate him, and you can just. I mean, everything's heartbreaking about this. That his last moments were there in that cafeteria. And then, they brought him to the hospital, but at that point, he was
dead
gone.
already, right?
Yeah, and so now they're going to have grief counselors at this school this morning.
I need a grief counselor. I swear to God, I'm not even at that school.
I had the same reaction. This comes 24 hours after school around the. I don't want to bring everybody down because we're talking about the Knicks.
Yeah.
But 24 hours earlier at the school around the corner from me, a 12-year-old committed suicide because they had been
All right, how about
bullied.
those Knicks? And then you get the
so it's just awful.
These kids in I listen to Noam's show every day. He's the best. Just trust me. I have no reason to say nice things about Noam. Believe me, no reason. But his show is great. 5 to 6 every morning. No one delivers the news better. He's great.
That was some compliment, by the way.
It's true. I don't need to say nice things about him. I got him fired once before. I'll do it again. But
I can't wait.
He happens to be the best in the business. He's so good.
He's amazing.
He delivers the news so well, and he does it with just the right amount of emotion and smarts. And what's going on in Connecticut with these kids who are taking full boxes of Benadryl every day? What are they, nuts?
You want to keep going with brutal stories? So now there's 3 kids in Connecticut they think have died tied to a Benadryl TikTok challenge where you take the entire box of Benadryl, like I think it's 24 pills in a box, to get hallucinations. Well, of course, like anything, if you take a lot of it, you could potentially die. And so 3 kids have died. They haven't confirmed 100% that it's connected to the Benadryl, but people who know the kids say, yeah, they were part of this challenge. What you do is you take all 24 pills and then you videotape yourself, tape yourself as you're hallucinating and then post it online. Just brilliant.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
A lot of these challenges that these kids are doing, and of course my kids will never do that because I'm a great father and Danielle's a great mom and my kids are smarter. But they're doing a whole bunch of dangerous challenges, these kids today. A whole bunch of stuff that can kill them. I don't know.
Yeah, and you need ID to get, I didn't know this, but you need ID to get Benadryl now? I
guess.
Well,
any medication, right?
Yeah, well, but Benadryl's over the counter. So, but this one of the kids who died apparently got DoorDash to deliver it.
Yeah,
of course,
I saw that.
They don't ask for an ID.
Right.
So that's how
every once in a while, Danielle buys liquor for the house. She likes a little vodka every now and then or tequila. And they deliver it to the house, and they ask for ID. Because every now and then I'll get the doorbell, and they'll be like, "Where's your ID?" I'm like, "Are you nuts? I'm going to be 60 years old. What's the matter with you?" They're like, "Well, you look really good."
And I see ID.
Yeah, I guess you don't look so purple to me.
I guess they saw that video with your shirt off.
Come on.
Sure, yeah.
I look like a 30-year-old. I've got audio today thanks to Lisa Glassberg talking about tans.
I asked for the police when I saw that.
I got audio. I've got the video, too, but you can't see it, obviously, on the radio. But Paul Anka, the great Paul Anka, having a conversation with Sebastian Maniscalco about being tan. I'm going to play that this morning. It is great. And I love Paul Anka even more. I've always loved him. He, I guess it was Elvis. I always forget Who did My Way? Who wrote that? It wasn't Frank. It was Elvis or Paul Anka.
I think you're on.
I think it's Anka, right?
I think you might be right.
Yeah. And, of course, one of my favorite songs ever, Times of Your Life, which they use for Kodak, their commercials. And I play for my dad all the time. That's a great one, Paul Anka. Put your head on my shoulder. And, well, he's just one of the all-time greats. But I think it was his My Way, right?
Oh, Paul Anka wrote the song.
He did write it, yes. Okay. Right. All right, we got a lot to do today. A lot of amazing guests. Craig Carton's going to be here, and Joe Benigno, two amazing sports guys on the Knicks. Rich Lowry's going to be here. Katie Pavlich, she hosts that show, 10 o'clock. Weeknights on News Nation. And I made my debut on her program last week. Got home at midnight, but it was worth it. Katie Pavlich will join us this morning. The great artist and American patriot Scott Lebedo, usually Wednesdays. He joins us today. And, of course, it's Thursday. That means the best ever, Bill O'Reilly. He'll be here as well. Here we go, folks. One win away from our first NBA championship in New York City in 53 years. You're going to party with us today.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Lou, my man Lou's got some news on this amazing band. Looks like Russia's going to hit the road again, huh, Louis?
They've started, I think. But they're going to be in New York in August.
At the Garden?
Yeah, I think at the Garden.
I want to see them. I want to see them.
They've got another drummer.
Yeah. He died.
Neil Peart.
Long dead.
Yeah. But they have replaced, it's going to be this female now.
A female drummer?
Yes.
Sheila E.?
Annika Niles is her name. It's not
Sheila E.
Sheila E.
Sheila E. can play the drums, bitch.
Yeah. Could be.
She always plays like one. I've never seen her do a whole drum
Oh, no, she could do the whole thing.
She can? Yeah.
Oh, she's one of the greats. She's ranked second all time to Buddy Rich.
Okay. This woman's good.
She is good?
Oh, yes.
You want to go see them?
I've never seen them. I think, sure, there's nothing like hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-old young boys. Watch Rush. That's who shows up. But
is that right? That's who shows up?
Yeah.
To Rush concerts?
Well, they don't appeal to, they're not the most appealing to young females.
No, I know that, but our generation, old guys like us.
Right. Oh, no, it's, again.
Oh, come on.
A crowd of old 50s,
Fantastic.
90-year-olds.
No, listen. I remember it was Jill, my former producer, who I still love to this day, Jill Vitale. I make fun of her. It gets back to her in 10 minutes. Flirty flipper. And she must have gone to see Billy Joel in concert 30 times. And I'm there with Bernard years ago, my late great partner, God rest his soul. She talked me into it. So I got tickets, and I took Danielle to see Billy Joel at the Garden. We sat next to, you can't make this up, Dancing Larry from the Ranger games. I swear to God. So, like, Billy Joel is singing Honesty, and Dancing Larry breaks into his Ranger dance.
Oh, my God.
But
that's hilarious.
To see the people that were getting up and dancing to, like, Uptown Girl and Anthony's song Moving Out was so depressing.
Oh, no.
Like 65-year-old ladies, they haven't seen a penis in like 10 years, and they're going nuts to Billy Joel. Billy Joel, not exactly Nelly. Anyway, I didn't enjoy it. I love Billy. I know I could listen to his music all day, every day, but I found the concert to be literally depressing. So I didn't go back again. And Rush would be the same thing. You're right. What am I thinking?
Yeah, I think Rush is their fans are rabid too.
Oh yeah,
Rush.
psychos.
They actually get group parties together when they're not touring.
Yeah,
it's really insane.
I had that depressing moment when I saw Paul McCartney last year.
Oh, that's got to be brutal.
And the guy next to me fell asleep during the concert.
He did?
And I said, oh, my God, I am that old.
Where did you see Paul? Where was that?
He was at the Garden.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
And soon Paul's going to be falling asleep.
I know. He's like 84 years old. We got to take a break. When we get back, we have a lot of great guests today, but this one I think tops the list. He did an epic interview with the owner of the New York Knicks, Jim Dolan. It's everywhere today. Him and his partner. I got to give Chris C-Mac credit as well. On WFAN, this will be his second appearance on the show this week because he's doing such a great job. My dear friend Craig Carton on his conversation with Knicks owner Jim Dolan and the amazing Knick victory last night. The Radio Hall of Famer Craig Carton. He's our leadoff hitter on this Thursday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Everybody's talking at me. You're We're talking.
Can't hear a word they're saying.
We're listening.
Only the echoes of my mind.
77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers. I'll be talking about this one for just about forever. The long road back to the top of the NBA is almost complete for the Knicks, and the step they took last night, both legendary and unforgettable, of course, coming back from 29 points down and moving to the brink of their first championship since 1973 by beating the Spurs 107-106 in Game 4 of the Finals on OG Anunoby's heroic tip-in with 1.2 seconds remaining. The Knicks, who have just 2 titles in their 80-year history and hadn't even been to the NBA Finals since 1999, have a 3-1 lead and 3 chances now to win the best-of-7 series, starting with Game 5 on Saturday night in San Antonio. Could be a big party around New York City coming up on Saturday night. Let's head to the Diamond in Cleveland. Jazz Chisholm Jr. drove in 3. Carlos Rodon shook off a leadoff homer to pitch 6 solid, and the Yankees completed a 3-game sweep over the Guardians with an 8-4 win in yesterday's finale. They're 11-4 since late May. Up next for them,
I think they're 11-4 since Aaron Judge got hurt, right? No, not that long. No,
not that long. Since
but they've been
24th,
winning.
Yeah.
They've been winning almost every game.
Hey, they're playing good, really good, sound baseball.
Yeah. Cleveland's not the Dodgers, but
but timely hitting. Jazz Chisholm Jr.'s been playing.
Yeah,
great.
Jazz is playing good baseball.
Trent Grisham's been playing good baseball. Paul Goldschmidt is like MVP.
He's a good player.
Stuff right now from Paul Goldschmidt. He's a great player.
I got a text this morning from Jim Leyritz,
yes,
the former New York Yankee great.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, OG just made the club Leyritz home run. And he had a couple, but you can go back to 96 against the Braves. David Tyree catch.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, right before the Plaxico Burress touchdown, which led the Giants to the Super Bowl win over the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And now OG. So Leyritz wants to come on and talk about big moments, which we may do.
Yeah, why not?
Reggie.
How about? Oh, right, the 3 home runs
in one game.
Yeah,
1977 against the Dodgers
game. Yeah, you got to throw that in there. Yeah,
3 pitches. I believe it was Bert Hooton. Yeah. Elias Sosa.
Jeter, Mr. November.
No, who was the third pitcher now? Hooton, Sosa, and it was the starter, the old guy. He ended up with the Marlins.
Oh.
He was like a 50-year-old starter for the Marlins years and years later. Son of a bitch.
It wasn't Don Sutton, right?
No. No, I forgot his name.
I know. I used to have all 3.
Yeah, he ended up with the Marlins. And anyway, 3 different pitchers, 3 pitches.
Yeah.
And he won the...
Charlie who?
Charlie Huff.
There
you go.
Excuse me.
There you go.
Before my
Charlie who? You really are.
Yeah, you really are.
God.
All right, come on. You didn't even know. You couldn't even think of it.
Reggie did win the MVP of that World Series. Now, the following year, Bucky Dent hit the home run to beat Boston.
Yes, sir.
And the Yankees got back to the World Series. And they won again. And Bucky Dent won the MVP of that World Series.
Messier.
Yeah.
Messier.
There's a lot. Come on.
Hat trick. Every one of those goals came at even strength.
Right.
Not one power play goal. Not one.
You got to throw that in there, too.
Was that game 6 or 7?
6.
It's a long list.
Zalapukin.
It's a long list.
Matau.
This is a long list.
Hurry up with this. Come on, I got caught.
No, you're the one rambling.
What are you doing?
God.
Come on,
the Mets got beat 9-2.
Nobody cares. Just don't even bother giving the Mets scores anymore.
Just was going to be really quick with it. And the Stanley Cup final picks up tonight. Game 5 there. Series knotted at 2 apiece. 8 p.m. between the Golden Knights and the Hurricanes.
Let's assume the Mets lost and move on.
Yeah, you're right.
If they win, we'll actually give you the score.
Exactly, right. We'll be
shocking.
Right, we'll play a big bumper. Mets win. Oh, my God. The sports sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Boilers, world's best built boilers. Justin Ellick, 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The mayor's office, and I'm sorry, the commissioner too, right, do not have the experience to do this, right?
That's Mayor Mamdani and Jessica Tisch, who's the police commissioner.
I mean, they have never managed anything like this before, and it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's coming out the sides. And, you know, I think that's part of it. We're seeing a lot of fear from the mayor's office, a lot of anxiety. They're sitting there trying to say, well, we're big Knicks fans, but they're not Knicks fans.
He called the Garden a stadium. How big a Knicks fan is he?
He's not a Knicks fan.
We're winning all right. That was part of the interview that my man Craig Carton did with Knicks owner Jim Dolan, Knicks and Ranger owner Jim Dolan yesterday. Craig and C-Mac on the fan, and I've texted Craig about 10 times. I thought he did a magnificent job, and we are honored for the second time this week to have the aforementioned Hall of Fame radio voice, Craig Carton, with us on WABC this morning. Craigie, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, not much of a voice left after last night, and probably in my lifetime, your lifetime, gotta go down as arguably the single greatest sports moment we've had.
No, it's right there. Like, I said this morning, I was in the stadium after Whitney Houston sang the national anthem and Norwood missed that field goal, Super Bowl 25, Giants-Bills. Certainly the ground ball that Mookie Wilson hit that went underneath Bill Buckner's legs. Those are all part of it. But this one, David Tyree's catch. But you're right, this one, 29-point comeback. But I want to start, before we get back to the game, with your conversation yesterday. First of all, I know Dolan likes you. That's a great get, Craig. You're the only guy that can get Dolan in New York on game day, so congratulations. The only part of the interview, which I thought was magnificent, you did an amazing job, where I really couldn't figure it out is, I'm not exactly sure if you guys are watching the news or not, but this idea that Knicks fans have been good and behaved and deserve outdoor watch parties. There have now been arrests 3 consecutive game nights, and it doesn't matter whether they win or lose. 2 of those nights, Game 2 San Antonio, Game 4 New York, the Knicks won, and there are still people getting arrested. So I hate to break it to Jim Dolan, but I said this yesterday, they should cancel these parties. New York is starting to look like Los Angeles and Detroit or Uganda or Gaza. We don't deserve it, Craig. I'm sorry.
Look, there have been obviously issues at watch parties, not just the watch party at the Garden, the one in Bryant Park. Obviously, a couple of nights ago, it was hard to look at, and the behavior of, a couple hundred people was disgusting and a bad look for New York. I'm not sure that's what Jim was talking about yesterday. What he was talking about yesterday was kind of twofold. One, the fact that they continue to have basically a frozen zone in New York City where they closed off the city from 29th Street up to 35th Street, north and south, and 6th Avenue to 8th Avenue, east and west. Now, when they did that on Monday night, the reason they gave us was because the Secret Service wanted it for the protection of the president. Well, while none of us may have wanted it, we could certainly respect that. There have been assassination attempts on the president, and it's every city's duty to make sure when a visiting president comes into town that he's safe. But then we find out yesterday that the Secret Service never requested that, and it came from the mayor's office. So I think the first thing that Jim was concerned about or pissed about was that why are we shutting down the city again with such a wide swath of the shutdown when the president's not in town, and this city has in the past shown an ability to protect its citizens when there's large gatherings of people. The second part was this specific watch party at the Garden. Mayor Mamdani is not a fan of the Knicks, and he is not a fan of these gatherings of Knicks fans. He's trying to stop it, much like he's trying to replace Jessica Tisch as the police commissioner, and probably will before the end of this year. So the question became, yes, we've had some misdemeanor arrests, we've had some property damage. It's not a good look. But when you talk about the breadth of how many people are gathering versus how many of these knuckleheads are causing a problem, why did the mayor try to take credit for a 1,000-person watch party that now, out of the blue, required a ticket to attend when Madison Square Garden has had thousands of people there at every single Knicks game this postseason? And yes, some small incidents for sure, but not what we saw in Bryant Park. So I think there was a conflation of 2 different issues on the show yesterday.
Fair enough. That's a very good explanation. Great job, Craig. Thank you for that. Jim Dolan with Craig Carton yesterday, and you mentioned the fact that he's not a Knicks fan. I've been railing about this. Since the Atlanta Hawks series, I've been tweeting every time the Knicks win, this moron who, as you said yesterday to Jim Dolan, thinks we play basketball games in stadiums. No dick base. We play basketball games in arenas. And the governor, that idiot who thought we won a championship in 1993 when it was 1973, the both of them, and I know Hochul wasn't mentioned yesterday with you and Dolan, but she's every bit as guilty as the mayor. She goes on Twitter, way to go, New York, we're fighters. Shut up. You think either one of them ever heard of Rory Sparrow or Eddie Lee Wilkins or Mike Newland or Johnny Newman? I am so sick and tired, Craig, of the mayor and the governor. They're liars. It was so great to hear you and Jim both call out the mayor for not being a Knicks fan.
Well, not just that. Look, you don't have to be a Knicks fan. I don't think he's a basketball fan either. I've had people, high up in the administration and with the police department tell me he hates basketball. I think you're going to see a much different mayor now that the World Cup starts today because he's a huge soccer fan. And I think you'll see that his tact when it comes to watch parties for the World Cup, which there's not a single game being played in the city of New York or any one of the 5 boroughs. I think you'll see a much different city hall when it comes to that. But look, politicians do this all the time, right? I mean, whether it's the governor, whether it's the mayor, all of a sudden they recognize that there's an opportunity to try to reach potential voters down the line by pretending to be, into a major sporting event. Now, I can tell you in my lifetime or recent lifetime, Governor Patterson was a legitimate Met fan, and he would go to Met games. Rudy Giuliani was a legitimate Yankee fan. He was a fixture at Yankee Stadium. Mayor de Blasio was not a sports fan, didn't go to many sporting events. So I think for us as New Yorkers, we can spot a fraud a mile away. There have been some politicians, governors, and mayors who are huge sports fans and wear it on their sleeve. My dear friend, I know you're not a big fan, Chris Christie, diehard sports fan.
Yeah. But you may be a diehard sports fan, but good old Fatso there is in New Jersey. He not be rooting for you're rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, come on, what is that all about?
Right. But the point is, his fandom is legitimate.
True.
Right? We didn't question whether or not he was a fan and knows the sport. But you give a politician a chance to jump into a good time, they'll find a way to mess it up. No doubt about it.
Yeah, you make a very good point there, too. And it is about the voters.
I'll give you one other thing. So I get a call yesterday. There's a pizza chain in New York City called Bravo Pizza. There's about 6 or 7 of them throughout Manhattan. I don't know about the other boroughs, but I know they're in Manhattan. And there's a Bravo Pizza on 30th and 8th. That place was counting on last night to do 2 or 3x their normal business and pay their rent for the next couple months. Nobody went in last night because of the lockdown. And somebody needs to explain to New Yorkers why we are locking down 6 city streets and 3 city avenues when there's no reason to shut them down. I don't understand that at all.
All right, I want to go back. It's a fair question. I did not like the fact that he went after Jessica Tisch. I think she's doing the best she can. Like you said, the mayor doesn't really like her, but he knew that he needed her to try to keep a semblance of safety in this city. Plus, it looks good that a Jew-hating lowlife like him actually has a Jewish police commissioner. But I think she's doing the best she can under very difficult circumstances. So I thought Dolan was a little tough on Jess. But I do want to play this cut, too. You're funny, Greg. You're trying to get my guy Trump in trouble here. This is Craig Carton with Jim Dolan yesterday on the Fan. And Craig brings up President Trump. Lewis, cut number 1.
May have looked like he shut his eyes for a long period of time during one part of that game.
I was with him the whole time.
He did not fall asleep.
We were talking the whole time.
I'm just
maybe he was sleep talking. He wasn't. He was very much awake. He was very much engaged.
Okay.
Right. Look. That's the first sitting president of the United States to ever go to an NBA Finals. Yeah. That is a huge honor, right? And he's a New Yorker. And whatever you think about him, he's a Knicks fan, and people don't want to hear this. I think he's a great guy. I love.
And you've known him a long time,
right? I've known him for over 30 years, but I'm not going to go on this show and start espousing the president. I'll just say that having him there was a great honor, right? And and I enjoyed sitting with him, right? And he asked me a lot of questions.
Were you guys talking basketball?
Yeah, we're talking basketball.
To be a fly on that wall. That'd be great.
He knows basketball.
All right, so no, he wasn't asleep. And, of course, you heard all the ridiculous. And these guys were being serious. At least they claim they were. I think Stephen A. Smith got the attention he garnered because President Trump called him a box of rocks, said his IQ was so low he could never run for office. And Stephen A. Smith was so happy the president mentioned him, he didn't care about the content. But whether it was Stephen A. or Max Kellerman or Spike Lee, they blamed President Trump for the Game 3 loss. And Stephen A. texted me, Craig, I swear to you, 2 hours before the game yesterday and said, if we lose tonight, it's still Trump's fault, which was some of the dumbest and silliest commentary ever. But it was nice to hear Jim Dolan say nice things about the president.
Yeah, look, you know how it is. You do it every single day. I don't. From a talk show standpoint, you can't talk politics in this country. You can't talk about Trump, good or bad, in this country. But, a lot of these guys, and I think we probably do it in a different way, it's all performative. Like, there's nobody that can come out and say that a human being sitting in a luxury suite 150 feet away from the court of play is now singularly responsible for the outcome of a game. Like, what are we doing? But I also respect it. If the idea is to get attention for yourself and get clicks, maybe get more viewers, we all try to do it. And that's what Stephen A. did. He's great at it. But it's performative, like his fandom, in my opinion. It's performative. But as a guy that performs, I respect it. He moves the needle. So all good, but the focus today, in my opinion, should not be about what the mayor did or the police department or even the lockout of that part of New York City. It should be the fact that we are all blessed not to be in Sid Rosenberg's company, which I know is an amazing gift that we all get every day. But we should feel blessed that we got to see one of the most amazing historical sporting events in the history of this great city of ours. You talked about 86, Game 6, a night that they did not win the World Series, and obviously, because they needed Game 7. I think that's the best comparison because the Mets were left for dead. There's no chance they're going to come back. The Red Sox are going to win the World Series, and all of a sudden, Gary Carter with a single, Kevin Mitchell, and Ray Knight, and Mookie Wilson with the dribbler. And we all sat there, and Gary Thorne, I thought, said it best in that broadcast, stunned disbelief was his call when he interrupted the great Bob Murphy. And that's how I viewed last night.
Yeah, you're right. One more for you, and a very good point in that, the Mets did not win the World Series that night. They had a beat on a Monday night, the Red Sox in a Game 7, and I know that because I was in my basement in Brooklyn, and at the time I had a 9-inch black and white Sony Watchman. You can't make this up. And I was watching Mets Game 7 and the Giants and the Redskins on Monday Night Football. That was the year the Giants went on and beat John Elway and the Broncos in the Super Bowl. And don't forget, the Mets fell behind 3-0 to the Red Sox in Game 7. They still win. Is there any scenario, Craig, where the Knicks don't win any of these 3, if it gets that far, 3 remaining games?
No, I don't think so. And look, they played like crap. That was the worst half of basketball they've played in a very, very long time. But this team's got something that championship teams have, right? And it's something that we've never seen before from the Knicks or any team in the last 25 years. I thought last night was the single most important and biggest New York City sporting event this century. Because, the Yankees, of course, in the World Series in 2009, which game at the Yankee Stadium that year was like this. They weren't any. The New York Giants Super Bowl run in 2011, they barely had home games, that postseason. And I think last night's OG Anunoby tip-in ranks right up there with the Jim Leyritz home run, with the Mookie Wilson dribbler, with the David Tyree catch. And I think there's going to be about 50 million people that'll claim to their grandkids, I was in the building the night that OG Anunoby tipped that Jalen Brunson miss in and got the Knicks one step away from a championship. And I'm loving it. We deserve it. It was awesome, and I feel blessed to have been alive to witness it myself.
Well said. Jim Leyritz listening right now. He's driving to O.J. Anderson's golf tournament. He's thrilled that you just mentioned him.
Because he texted me. He said, don't forget that. He texted me a half hour ago, and I love Jimmy, and I played in that golf tournament. It's a great tournament as well. And he goes, oh, Anunoby just joined the club. Right, and I go, what club? He goes, my club.
Right, and then he went on to mention David Tyree, right?
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Hey, listen, I know everybody wants to talk to you today. Again, Craig, congratulations. That was a really great interview you did with Dolan yesterday, and I appreciate you coming out with me not once but twice this week. Like I say, I mean this. You're the best in the business, so thanks for this morning. You were terrific, Craig. Thank you so much.
Today should be a lot of fun for all of us, so let's enjoy the win and not let all the other negativity around it, color what is a great New York moment, and hopefully we can just all enjoy it in peace. But today's a day where it should be fun coming into New York City today. And I'm right at the Lincoln Tunnel right now. Today should be a fun day.
I agree. The great Craig Carton. That's why he's a Hall of Famer, folks. Afternoons on WFAN with C-Mac. Great guy, tremendous talent. Craig, thank you so much. I love you, pal. We'll take a short break. We got about 5 more great guests to come, including Joe Benigno and Bill O'Reilly. Craig Carton back on WABC after his huge interview with Knicks owner Jim Dolan yesterday. Short break, lots more to do. Big Knick win last night, folks. We're 1 win away from our first championship in 53 years.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I got about 7 minutes here with Rich Lowry, a little departure from the Knicks. We did Craig Carton before Rich. We'll do the other WFAN legend, Joe Benigno, after. But I want to get to Iran. My daughter Ava is still in Tel Aviv this morning. She's there till Tuesday. And I'm supposed to be going to Israel a week from today for a nice trip. But you know what happens as soon as the U.S. hits Iran? They usually strike back at Israel. They haven't yet the last day or so. Bahrain, I guess, was Jordan, Kuwait. Let me get to Rich Lowry. Rich, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I mean, I'm not thrilled my daughter's in Israel right now with what's been going on here, but the president
Can I just
said...
mention one Knicks thing?
Yeah, the Knicks...
one thing that I'm not an NBA guy, so I just watched at the end. But something that annoyed me, the TV broadcast didn't even mention that Onanabi, is that how you say his name? OG's block of the potential layup, like at 10 seconds, which was almost as huge a play.
No, we got it. We got the Breen call on that. Well, I'm going to play it after you're done, but it was a bonehead play by De'Aaron Fox. When you've got possession of the basketball and the lead, you hold on to the ball and get fouled. You don't take a shot.
But he thought he had the layup. And it's the most important block in the NBA Finals since LeBron James and that Cavs final.
No, he did it on both ends of the court.
But they didn't even replay it in the TV broadcast.
That's weird. You know, we've got the audio here this morning, but he did. He blocked the shot on defense, and then he got the game-winning tip-in on offense. So both sides of the court, OG came up big.
10 seconds in the NBA Finals in a very long time.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. But getting back to Iran for a second, Trump is threatening them again, and you're hearing some people say this could be back to 400 or 500 strikes a day. We hit 20 different spots in Iran last night. But I'm going to speak on behalf of a lot of Americans, and no one loves Trump more than me, Rich. You know that I adore the guy. I love him. But this is getting silly. And, you know, his threats, they're less and less meaningful. Yeah. To be honest, if he's going to do it, just do it. Do you think this is it? This is the time?
I think it's not it until he really thinks there's absolutely no alternative. Clearly, he doesn't want to start a major fighting again. He's desperate for a deal, but the problem is the Iranians realize that, so that's why he might need to resort to a big bombing campaign again. But he really, really doesn't want to do it.
Yes, but whether he wants to do it or not, they're not going to do a deal. And if they do a deal, they're never going to comply. What are we doing?
Yeah, I think the deal, they're going to want money. I think it's not just reopening the strait. You know, in my mind's eye, I'm like, okay, at this point I'll just take a trade of the blockade for reopening the strait. But I don't think they're going to do it. You know, I think they're going to say we get sanctions relief and we'll reopen the strait and toll the strait. So my guess is it's a terrible deal that's on the table. You probably can't even believe in it, right? The original ceasefire, they're supposed to reopen the strait and they didn't do it. So we're in I think it's a real uncomfortable spot for the president, who would prefer to move on, but is stuck in this middle space.
Stuck is that word I've been using for the better part of a month. You just used it too, and can't give them money. They've proven in the past. You know, Obama did it, and Biden did it, and all that money went to the terror proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis. You know, so you can't give these people money.
If it weren't for the strait, you could just kind of walk away. Say we're not giving you sanctions relief. We're not giving you pallets of cash. We destroyed a bunch of stuff, and maybe we'll see you a couple years later if we got to do it again. But it's really hard for Trump to walk away if they have control of the strait.
How terrifying was it for you to watch Graham Plattner celebrate a couple of nights ago?
Well, it's probably very good for Republican chances to hold the Senate. I kind of gave him pretty good odds of beating Susan Collins when all it was the Reddit stuff and the tattoo, all of which are terrible and show the guy's a poisonous toad. But the sexting and the abusive relationships with girlfriends, when you get into that kind of stuff, there's more where that came from. So I expect other shoes to drop. He's obviously lying about the women. He's lying about the sexting, and he's lying about the tattoo. He knew what the tattoo was from day one. Yeah. He thought it was cool and tough, And one of his girlfriends, who knows nothing, a former girlfriend, knows nothing about military affairs, was telling her girlfriend, like a year ago, oh, it's a Totenkopf. And he told me. So obviously he knew. Yeah. The guy is the worst. He's twisted. There's something really sick about him. Yeah. We've had unfaithful Senate candidates before, unimpressive Senate candidates before. This is a guy you want to have nothing to do with. Just saying that he would rape someone who broke into his house to establish dominance, that's like out of a bad Quentin Tarantino movie.
And yet all these Democrats endorse him. You get this moron, Cory Booker, who again was just shredding Bibi Netanyahu yesterday. He called Bibi a horrible person, which is ridiculous, okay? You may disagree with some of the politics. Let me say it again, folks. Israel is not committing genocide. You stupid bastards are not, okay? So you got Cory Booker calling Bibi Netanyahu a horrible person, but yet Graham Plattner, he's a good guy? You want to explain that one to me?
Yeah, and they didn't have to nominate him. They were defending him on all this stuff when they could have nominated someone else, 2 weeks before the primary, right? But they felt they had no alternative because the other candidate had effectively dropped out, Janet Mills, and they'll twist themselves into.
Well, Bernie loved him too.
Try to oppose Trump.
Bernie loved him too. Sanders loved this guy too. He's another lowlife. Were you surprised to see what ended up happening with Nancy Mace in that governor run? She gets blown out by Yvette, who Trump endorsed anyway. That whole Nancy Mace story, pretty wild in South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, she was all over the map because originally she was a huge never Trumper, right? He made me look mild by comparison, and then she became, ultra MAGA, and then she went the Marjorie Taylor Greene route with the Epstein thing, and I think we're the only two people in the United States who think that the Epstein thing was idiotic from the beginning, and he never should have released the files. And in South Carolina, if you're not with Trump, Trump's not with you, you're going to be in a very bad space. So. I like her. I know you've had on a lot, but kind of predictable what happened.
Yeah. Lindsey Graham did get the win. Now they're talking. I did see something yesterday. You were on Fox News talking about potential 2028 Republican candidates for president. And J.D. Vance, obviously, and Marco Rubio, but he added some other names in there like Ted Cruz, and he added in Glenn Youngkin. And he seems to think that Ron DeSantis is going to run again.
I think all those guys want to run again. I think Ted, if there's any opening, absolutely will run again. Youngkin, what else is he doing? No offense, but I think there's a chance he'll run. And certainly DeSantis has a taste in his mouth as well. I think if you just parachute DeSantis in the presidency, he would be a fantastic president. He's been a great governor. He's a substantive guy. He's smart, takes no BS. But the people skills are a little lacking, and that's just something you can't get around in politics. So I still heavily favor J.D.
Yeah, me too. Rich, you're amazing as always. I know you got to run this morning. Those are very, very important 8 minutes. Thank you so much for hopping on this celebratory Nick Day. By the way,
are you available for lunch tomorrow? If not, I'll hit you up for some other dates.
I may be. Text me after the show, okay? I may be, yes.
Awesome.
All right, there he is, the editor of the National Review. My dear friend, as you can tell, we're about to dine together again. The great Rich Lowry here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. Quick break. Pete Morgan's in studio. He's been recuperating. We love Pete so much. And then Joe Benigno as the Nick Talk continues. Thursday, Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Sitting to my left is one of my dearest friends, my brother, for over 25 years. And you know him, of course, as Mr. Peerless Boilers, who sponsors just about everything on this show and has been doing that for my whole career, from WFAN to my stay down in South Florida to right back here at WABC. My dear friend Pete Morgan. And Pete, you have been put through the ringer, my man. Man, you've had a rough couple of months.
Well, last was a rough month, but listen, we're rolling.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't have any
sure?
I don't have any stitches in my mouth.
No, that's funny. Both of us today will get stitches out. Pete had some surgery done. He'll tell you about that. And for me, believe it or not, it's well over 2 weeks now since I had to get these teeth pulled. I was dying. You remember that. And today, I got to go home, come back into the city tonight, actually, to go back to see Anthony at Smile Labs and get the stitches out. So my mouth continues to be an issue, but it's much better than it was, obviously, 17 days ago. But you've got a much bigger issue. So how are you, honestly?
Good. I felt better going in than I do coming out. But
how many stitches are you getting removed today?
I have no idea. It's an ugly-looking thing, but
yeah. And why did you get stitches, for folks that don't know, that don't talk to you like I do all the time?
I was in had a collapsed lung. They seemed to repair it the first time. unbeknownst to me, that I was walking around with a collapsed lung for who knows how long.
Could have been months.
Yeah.
And you were about to take a flight to Nantucket or somewhere.
Yeah, for a wedding.
And that altitude is not good with a collapsed lung.
No, it's a bad scene. So was in for 5 days, came out for 24 hours, went in for this just a quick X-ray to make sure everything was good, and they said, it's collapsed again.
Oh, yeah.
And Maureen was with me, and she says, "You're effing kidding me." And
you don't
they
even
said,
know.
No, we're not. No. So anyway, long and short of it is I had to go back in. I was in for another 12 days.
Oh, man.
And they kept trying things. Nothing was working. Chest tube after chest tube, which is always pleasant.
That hurts, right?
Not a real pleasant experience.
Oh, kidding aside, that hurts.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yeah.
And so anyway, then they ended up having to do some surgery. They took a little piece of the lung out that they couldn't do anything with, and they repaired it.
So is the prognosis now good in terms of because that piece of the lung is out, you shouldn't have these difficulties moving forward, or they just not know? I mean,
I think they just don't know, but this is the best result.
Yeah.
It's the result they were looking for, so that's good. Yeah,
I thought you were in the city this morning. You know, Pete has a place nearby, goes to just about every home Ranger game. Said, look at Pete. He's in the studio. He must have gone to the Knicks game last night.
Yeah. Well, I figured I didn't want to call you because you might start crying on the phone if I told you I was going to show up this morning. So I grabbed some bagels. I said, let me run over and say hi. I got an hour or two. Kill. Beat the traffic. They want to call Joe for traffic instructions this early.
Right.
Even though he's up at 4 with Noam.
Oh, so you came from Jersey this morning?
I did. I wasn't in the city last night, no.
Well, when you go to the city, if you knew you had a doctor's
Thought
appointment
about
today.
it, but I said, I don't want to mess around with the Knicks stuff. And,
Yeah, right.
So I just said, screw it. And, but staying up for the Knicks game, geez, I don't even know why I took a nap.
Pete, you're a big sports guy, huge Giants. You and I share that Giant love. Rangers, we share the Ranger love. Got to many Met games together, too, but everybody keeps saying the same thing this morning, that they've never seen and probably will never see anything like that comeback victory last night.
It was absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
I couldn't believe it. But you knew the Spurs weren't going to be shooting at 65% the whole game. That you knew. But we looked terrible at times, just awful.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the thing about the Knicks the last several years, even under Tibbs, they play their asses off. They really do.
They're never out of a game.
They're never out of
hard.
it. They play hard.
Yeah.
And that's what New York wants. You just want guys to play hard. That's why even some of the skilled and talented Ranger teams were beloved by the fans because they played hard.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the Knicks. They play their asses.
That's why they have no patience, New York fans, when they see he's in a horrible slump now, but he's a pretty good player. Juan Soto not running out a ground ball to first.
Yeah.
And they hammer him for a week because that's the least you can do. Right? You're getting paid almost $1 billion. You got up about 4 times a game. Right. Run out the ground ball.
Yeah, and at Brett Gardner they love because he hustles all the time.
Right.
It's just it's both ends of the spectrum.
Even those 86 teams, you have those superstars like Darryl Strawberry and Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez, but they love the Wally Backmans, the Mookie Wilsons, the Lenny Dykstras, those guys, the grit, right?
Absolutely.
You loved Phil McConkey on the Giants. Yeah. He was never their best wide receiver.
Nope.
Or those big fullbacks like Hynoski who went out there and just
the
played
bruisers.
hard.
Yeah.
You love those guys.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, Pete, I'm glad to see you. Stick around for a bit, okay?
Yeah, I'll be out of here in a half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. We're going to go to a game. You'll be in Israel.
Maybe.
Yeah, and if you're not, you come to the game.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 shot. I'll either be in Tel Aviv or Queens.
That's right. And you'll be in Queens with us. And
is it the Mets and Cubs?
Mets and Cubs.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
Very good game. And the whole crew's coming. Lou, Justin. Did you invite Noam?
Noam's coming.
Noam's coming?
And you know who else is coming from downtown?
Who?
The traffic man of the century.
Joseph Nolan?
Joe is making the trip.
Oh, my. Well, he did make the trip, too, to my local Italian restaurant.
Yes, he did.
Which was really sweet from anniversary dinner, which you made. Thank you for that.
He was fabulous that night.
He was great.
It'll be great.
And his lovely wife.
It'll be great to see him.
Oh, no, he's a great guy. And both of you guys had some medical issues the last couple of months. So you can sit at the Met game and talk about what it's like to stick a tube up your ass.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a short break. When we get back, a dear friend of me and Pete knows this guy very well, WFAN legend. He's still on there Saturdays, but now he's a weekly contributor to our show. He'll break down the game. He is the great Joe Benigno.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Kicks it out in the corner. Brunson gets it back. Brunson on the drive. The floater's up. Shot won't go. Rebound deflected in the backcourt. Fox has a chance to get it. Fox has it inside. Blocked by Anunoby. 9 seconds remaining. 6 seconds remaining. And Mike Brown, where they call a foul, they had a foul to give. So the Knicks will have to inbound.
It might just go flat for Jalen Brunson, allow him to operate at the top, 101.
Brunson gets it, fires up a three. Shot no good, the tip, it's gone! It's gone! It's gone! With 1.2 remaining, Knicks take the lead. OG Anunoby, and it's 107-106. Bedlam here at the Garden. They can't believe it. Brunson's shot looked good and just came up short. No timeouts left. They have to get it in. Harper lobs it inside. Castle hasn't lost it. That's it. It's over. The greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. The Knicks pull off the miracle comeback and lead it 3-1. Now 1 win away from a title.
Take us through the game-winning play, the inbounds and the tip-in.
Got the ball to Jalen. He got a good look, and I just crashed and went for the ball.
You make it sound so easy, but tell me what's going through your mind as it's all unfolding.
Oh, just do whatever it takes to win, you know? I mean, our thing is crashing. I love you, man. I think it's crashing the glass and second chance opportunities, so I just try to make a play.
OG, how did this happen? You guys were down 29. How did this happen?
We're resilient, you know? We never give up, you know? It's a game of runs. They went on a run early. We knew we were going to go on our own run, so we just stayed with it, kept pushing.
29 points, though. When you're down 29, what were you guys saying to each other?
Just stay with it, you know? It's a game of runs. We believe in ourselves. We've come back before. We're battle-tested. We're mentally, we're tough. We're a resilient group, so we just stay with it. When
you took the lead in the fourth quarter, what did this building feel like to you? We know what it felt like for us. What did it feel like for you?
It's electric. There's nothing like it. I mean, you see the fans, best fans in the world. It's amazing.
3-1 series lead going to San Antonio. How do you close it out in Texas?
By watching the film, fixing the stuff we messed up on to be down 29 in the first place, and coming out and just being aggressive from the start.
Congratulations to you, OG.
I got to tell you, listening back to that for the third time this morning, I'm so happy for Mike Breen. Breen was on this show just last week, and he and I have been dear friends for decades, and his best friend was Bernard McGurk, my late great partner who passed away tragically 5 years ago. And Mike and I keep in touch. Mike listens to this show every day. Every day. I mean, if he's on the road doing Oklahoma City, Houston, he's not listening. But as long as he's in New York, Mike and his lovely wife, Ro, listen every day. And he calls me once in a while to yell at me. Could you please stop saying blah, blah, blah? You're the best in the business. You really are, Sid. You don't need to say that type of thing. So every now and then, Breeny gives me some advice. But this poor bastard has been sitting there for decades and on those lousy teams, you know, the Phil Jackson days, the Larry Brown days, the Isaiah Thomas days, and calling lots of Knick losses and embarrassing losses. So I know that OG Anunoby was the star last night, the crowd chanting OG, OG, but I was really happy for Mike Breen. I'd love to see the Knicks win it for him. You know, Clyde, he's part of that broadcast crew, but he's got 2 championships, you know. And the beauty about Frazier is he stayed here. He didn't leave. He didn't move down to Plantation or Doral. He stayed here. He's been doing Knick games since. So I'll be happy for Frazier, too. But, man, just an unbelievable win. And I did speak to Craig Carton earlier, WFAN Hall of Fame legend, who had the chance to talk to Jim Dolan on the Fan yesterday. But I got to talk to this guy. He, as far as I know, in terms of Knick fans forever, he's the longest. Also on his way to the Hall of Fame one of these days. Still on the Fan, but on this show weekly, my dear friend Joe Benigno. Joseph, I've seen a lot. You know, there were comparisons made on this show this morning. Jim Leyritz actually texted me, and he said, you know, my home run against the Braves in 96, that spectacular David Tyree catch, setting up the Plaxico Burress touchdown when the Giants beat the Pats in that Super Bowl, the ground ball that Mookie Wilson hit underneath Bill Buckner's legs. And all those are being mentioned this morning when we talk about the OG tip-in last night. What do you think about all that?
Well, first of all, let me say this, bro. You know, when you have to slay the dragon, okay, and this is a 53 freaking year dragon that needs to be slayed. and the ghosts are still flying around Madison Square Garden. You have to do it in epic, historic fashion. And we saw this last night. The greatest comeback in the history of the NBA Finals. They looked like they were dead in the water. San Antonio couldn't miss a shot in the first half. The officials are calling everything, doing whatever they can, to screw the Knicks here, including what they did to Karl Anthony Towns 2 minutes into the game. And I don't want to get into all that. The officiating has been a disgrace. So you have to overcome the Spurs, and you have to overcome the officials, okay? And the fact that the league now is in love with Wembanyama. He's now the face of the league. He's the poster child of the league. And to come back like they did last night with all that working against them, bro, with all that karma against them, this is how you slay the over 5-decade dragon. Just don't believe it. I don't know what else to say. The only game that I can compare this to as a Knicks fan who's seen it all, okay? You got to go all the way back to the first championship, Game 5 at the Garden, tied 2-2 with the Lakers. Willis Reed goes down. His knee, he goes down with that knee injury, right? Looks like it's all over. The Knicks are down 20-plus points, whatever it was in that game. And they came back behind DeBusschere and Bradley and Dave Stallworth, going up against Wilt. They came back to win that game. And really, in essence, that's the night they won the championship, because if they didn't win that game, they're not winning the title. That's the only game I can compare as far as the Knicks to what we saw last night. Just, one win away from the title. Sid, I don't know. I can't play. I never thought I'd see another championship for any of my teams in my lifetime. I got to tell you that, never. And this is incredible.
You said it on this show many, many times. You said, Sid, the worst part is I'm in my 70s now, and my teams are the Mets and the Knicks and the Jets and the Rangers, and my fear is I'm going to die, which you're never going to die because we love you too much. But he said, my fear is I'm going to die, and none of my teams are going to win. I think you first told me that on maybe a couple of years ago. If I would have said to you it was going to be the Knicks, right, not the Yankees who were in the World Series just 2 years ago, not the Rangers who are a Stanley Cup contender just 2 years ago. The Knicks, you might have thought I was crazy, but of all those teams that you follow, you're a Met fan, not a Yankee fan. Of all those teams that you've loved your whole life and follow, would this be the most special? I know the Rangers have only won one Stanley Cup in like 90 years. The Jets, they haven't been to a Super Bowl since Super Bowl III. We're going on 61. But would this be the most special for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty special, Sid. I mean, I've been a Knicks fan since 1962. I used to go to my father would take me to the old Garden, the doublehead. You can't believe that there were doubleheaders, NBA doubleheaders back then. The NBA was a non-entity. Let's be honest about it. When I started watching basketball, bro, the NBA was a non-entity. How many years were the NBA Finals on tape delay? Think about that.
Tape delay?
Tape delay. Wow. When the Knicks won a title in 1970, that game wasn't on television on regular time.
So my guess is, as Pete Morgan just pointed out, after the merger, Julius Erving, that kind of started the trend. But really the NBA got big with David Stern. And all those drafts, Magic, Larry Bird, Isaiah, Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan. Fair to say, Joe Benigno, that's when the NBA started reaching brand new levels?
Well, I think it all started with Bird and Magic. That's when it really started, Sid. That's when
Agreed.
It really took off.
79-80. That's right. That's
right.
Exactly when it started to take off.
Yep. And even that year, 1980, when Magic won his first championship, when they beat the Sixers and they beat Dr. J, remember, and Kareem was hurt, that great Game 6 Magic had 42 points and all of that, right? That game was on tape delay. So you're even going into the 80s,
wow,
and you had these final games on tape delay. I mean, it's a disgrace. So that's where the NBA was, and it's certainly come a long way from that. There's no doubt about it. But, I'm speechless what we saw last night. I mean, I can't believe the Knicks are going to win a championship. I just can't. I never thought I'd see it win again. All the pain in the Ewing years, and Charles Smith, Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan, these suspensions against the Heat, Halliburton last year with the ball going up and coming down. Man, there's a lot of ghosts that are going to finally get buried, it looks like, Sid.
It does look that way, and like you talked about, the way they've done it, coming back from 22, game one against Cleveland, coming back from 29 last night, and they've had games where they're just blown out the competition, and they've had games where they win by 1 point. They sneak a win in. So they've won really in all kinds of fashion, which I guess has to go back to Mike Brown. You and I have discussed this before. The only other two coaches, the only coach to win a championship, of course, is Red Holtzman, but Riley got there, Jeff Van Gundy got there. You're going to put Mike Brown now in the same sentence as those three, but specifically Red Holtzman as a guy that's won an NBA championship with the New York Knicks. That's another one you never would have bet on years ago.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, too? Let's be honest about this, too, with Mike Brown, bro. Look, when they got rid of Thibodeau, he wasn't their first choice. The first guy they wanted was Jason Kidd. That's the name you heard that Leon Rose wanted. They couldn't get him out of his contract in Dallas. He got fired now, but he couldn't get. So Mike Brown wasn't even the first choice. So, and it's just incredible what's gone on this year. You got to give Brown all. And I thought one of the big moments of this game last night when he went to Jose. How big was Jose Alvarado last night in this game, Sid? He comes off the bench. He plays him in the fourth quarter in the backcourt with Brunson. Alvarado was huge. He hit a monster three that cut it to one at one point in the fourth quarter. It just seems every time that there's some kind of, chaos or things aren't looking good, Brown presses the right button, and last night it was Jose Alvarado. I mean, just incredible, really incredible.
And they get some luck too. I brought up these great New York sports moments. Mookie's ground ball underneath Bill Buckner's legs, but Bill Buckner had to live in Boston for a long time. Death threats, his life was miserable. Same thing with the Philadelphia Philly closer Mitch Williams giving up the home run to Joe Carter in the World Series. The same thing with Scott Norwood missing the field goal against the Giants in the Super Bowl for the Bills. I got a feeling De'Aaron Fox walks up the airport in San Antonio late last night, early this morning. He's got the rebound. He's got possession of the ball. He's got a 1 point lead. Why would you take a shot at that point? Why?
Yeah. And a great block by Anunoby there, who just was magnificent last night. And, maybe OG has moved to the top for the MVP in the finals. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I still got a feeling Brunson's going to get it. But maybe he's moved to the top. And let's be honest about this too, Sid, okay? This San Antonio team, okay, you got to get them now because nobody's beating this team going forward. Wembanyama is 22. Dylan Harper is 21. This kid Castle is like 23, 24. Who's beating this team?
Nobody.
This team is they're going to be the team to beat for a
decade.
Time.
They could be a team for a decade. The Knicks window is now. They could be that team for the decade. Oklahoma City is pretty young too, by the way, Joe.
Yeah, but look, I said this before. Wembanyama is the face of the league now, okay? This is the guy. Let's be honest. This guy should have been suspended, Sid. He finally got a flagrant last night. He did the same thing. He threw Brunson to the ground in Game 3. They didn't call anything, right? They didn't call anything. He would have easily been suspended for a game because what is it? I think it's 3 flagrants in the playoffs and he gets suspended. Yeah. He gave that guy, Reed from Minnesota, that he gave that elbow to in that series against the Timberwolves. So the league loves when they're never suspended. That's not happening.
But I will say this, when they finally did, because you're right, he could have been suspended. He's been doing a lot of this dirty stuff for games. When they did, in fact, stick that flagrant foul on him, on Towns in the third quarter, that is exactly when the score was 81-52. The Spurs had their largest lead of the game, a 29-point lead. When Wemby got called on that flagrant foul, that's exactly where the Knicks started to turn the whole game around.
Yeah, that's a great point, no doubt about it. And give Towns some credit too, man. I mean, he hadn't had a basket in the entire finals in the fourth quarter. Think about that. Until last night, he hit a big three, big step back three. He had a big 2 as he went to the basket as well. Give him some credit last night, too, in that fourth quarter. He was kind of an unsung star in this game last night. But, look, I mean, this is historic. There's no other way. The city's going to be crazy. I don't know what to say. They're going to have a parade that's going to be the all-time parade. It's going to be almost impossible to get anywhere near anything at that parade because there's going to be 3-4 million people there. There's no doubt about it. This is the city's team. This is the city's game. We're waiting a long, long, long time. Most of the Knicks fans haven't even seen a championship.
No.
I was fortunate enough to see two.
Right.
But
yeah,
this
these
will
young
be
kids.
as
Yeah, these young
essential
kids.
as anything.
Yeah,
Sid.
these young kids getting drunk and starting fights and hitting cops all over the city. These losers that are making us look like L.A. and Detroit the last couple of nights. That's why I wasn't upset when they canceled the outdoor watch party, because we look bad every night. They have no idea what it's been like with this Knickerbocker team. And you're right. I think you made this point earlier. The Jets and the Giants, they split this city. More Giant fans, but it's close. The Mets and the Yankees, they split this city. More Yankee fans, but it's close. There is no splitting the city with the Knicks and Nets. It's all Knicks. So you're right. Somewhere between 3 and 4 million people. The question is, first time in 53 years, will one Joseph Arthur Benigno, who has been scared to death of New York City since COVID, will you make the trip into New York City?
Well, I'm not scared to death since COVID. I'm scared to death since the mayor. I'm scared to death since your buddy Mamdani took over.
How great! By the way, how great was that yesterday with Jim Dolan on your station on the fan with our good buddy Craig Carton? Said what I've been saying for a month. Also about Kathy Hochul, he said, "quote Mamdani's not a Knicks fan." I love that.
Of course, he's not. And look at what was this last night? I mean, God. You know, I'm talking to a couple of my buddies who went into the city last night to watch the game at a bar or whatever. They got the whole area around the Garden cut off. The lines are unbelievable to try to get into the go. What the hell is Mamdani doing? Don wasn't there last night. It wasn't like the president was there for this game last night. Yeah. What is he doing, Sid?
I don't know. He's terrible. And poor Jessica Tish, who I love dearly, who's a great police. Yeah, but she's getting hammered because she stands with him. She works for him. So like Dolan, he took a couple of shots at Tish yesterday on the fan. I'm like, no. It's not Jesse. It's the dickbag mayor, Mayor Mamdani. He's the problem in this city. Not our police commissioner. Okay, Joe, on the way out here, is there any scenario, Joe Benigno, you're one of those guys, it's a disaster, this is going to be bad, it's never going to happen. Is there any scenario where you can see the Knicks losing the next 3?
No.
Wow.
I mean, they could very well lose Game 5. I mean, I kind of expect that they might. I kind of want to see them win it at the Garden, Sid, to be honest with you. I want to win it at home. But I can't see them losing this series now. I got to tell you. I mean, if they had lost last night, I would have been very concerned that they weren't going to win. I mean, how do you lose now? I mean, and honestly, let's get it done Saturday night. I don't even care anymore. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Let's get this thing over.
Yeah.
Let's get that banner up to the rafters that we've been waiting for 5+ decades.
All right.
It's time.
So, take me to Mahwah, New Jersey in the final couple of seconds. The beautiful palatial.
It's funny. I'm getting texts all night. My daughter's texting me. She's screaming as they're making the comeback.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here saying, man, they got to win this game. I'm not even getting crazy. Even when they cut it to 4, even when Alvarado made that 3 to cut it to 1. Even when Brunson made the layup to give him the lead for the first time in the entire game, I'm like, I didn't get nuts until finally Anunoby made that tip.
When it was over.
Then, there's 1.2 seconds left.
Right. Knowing the Knicks.
They got to win this game.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until that moment when the buzzer sounded that I'm like, wow.
Well, no, because you've seen so many heartbreaking losses, which you talked about earlier. So take me to Mahwah this weekend. I know, like during a Jet game, I know you wear a Jet jersey. I don't know what player it is, but are you sitting at home wearing like a Hawthorne Wingo jersey or a Dave Stallworth jersey? What is Benigno wearing in Mahwah, New Jersey on Saturday night?
Okay, last night I had my Patrick Ewing on last night. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, the first 2 games, I had my Willis Reed jersey on.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
I got a classic Willis Reed jersey. I said I would wear it the first game of the series. I did. They won. I said, I'm going to wear it game 2 as well. They won that, so I did. Then game 3, I wore it again. They lost, so I switched to Ewing. What I'm going to do now on Saturday night, with the possibility that this is finally happening, I will have Willis on again. I will have the championship karma jersey on Saturday night, number 19, the captain, the greatest Knick of all time. I will have that on, and hopefully we can, I don't know. I don't drink anymore, but I'll find something to do as you know, Sid, you know the deal. I will find something to do to celebrate that championship. Hopefully it's Saturday night. And, yes, I will have the Willis Reed jersey on Saturday night.
Well, I said before we had this conversation, I was so happy for Mike Breen, but I'm really happy for you, too. You're the longest Knick fan that I know, and, we had those great working years together at the Fan, and, of course, you remember when we went for dinner, bad idea, before the Knick game, and a couple of Bloody Marys in.
In the press conference and all of that? How can we ever forget that, Sid?
That was Isaiah Thomas holding a press conference. I'm a good 3 or 4 Bloody Marys in, and at one point, Mike Breen, in the press conference, I'm all over the place with this guy. Breen looks at me and he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" I was killing him over Tim Thomas, if you remember that, Joe. Tim Thomas.
Yeah, Tim Thomas. Going back to the Fugazi series against the Nets all the way back in 2004. Remember that with Kenyon Martin?
Yeah. Did they throw me out that night? I know they threatened to throw me out. Did they throw me out?
I don't think they did. I think because you were with me, I think you were saved. I think that's what happened. I think I saved you from getting thrown out of the garden that night.
I think you did.
Know what I mean?
Well, I'm happy for you, and we will talk again, obviously. Unfortunately, fortunately, if they win Saturday, Sunday, none of us will be on the air, but we'll have to wait till Monday morning. But we'll get to you. Joseph, you were amazing this morning, as always, and all of New York is happy for Joe Benigno. Big night coming up on Saturday. Thank you so much.
All right, Sid. God bless you. God bless America. Let's go, Knicks, and I'll talk to you, bro. All the love.
All the love to you.
The love.
The great Joe Benigno. He'll be on the Fan Saturday morning, which, of course, will be game day with the Knicks taking the court in Texas on Saturday night. And we'll get Joseph right back on this show when, in fact, whether it's Saturday or early next week at Madison Square Garden, when the Knicks win that championship, their first in 53 years. We'll take a break. Still lots more to come, including Bill O'Reilly. You know exactly what they're talking about there, Noam? Rick Ocasek. Don't even bother answering. I'm just kidding, okay? Please, I'm begging you. I know everybody's really excited about the Knicks, so maybe tonight she did. I don't know. Knickerbockers will have a chance to wrap it up. As you just heard, Joe Benigno on the show, Craig Carton on the show. We've had great sports guests on today, both WFANers, talking about the Knick win. Rich Lowry was here earlier talking about Iran, and I will do a couple in a row with Katie Pavlich and Bill O'Reilly. I met Katie for the first time last week. She's a lovely girl. She's great on TV. She's got a show, 10 o'clock on News Nation, and she had me as a guest, last week. And I met her husband. Her husband's a sweet guy, too. Boy, he's a nice guy. He's really excited to meet me, actually. It was late, You know what was there also? Because News Nation is on the same floor. It's kind of a weird setup here in New York. It's on the same floor as Channel 11, WPIX. And I guess after the local news, PIX does a sports show. You know about this, Lou?
I know it is. It's with the Mets pitcher.
Yes, Nelson Figueroa. Yeah, he's walking around the halls. He's like, "Hey, Sid." I go, "Nelson, what are you doing?" So he does a show with some girl. She's pretty. I don't know who she is. But a lot was going on for 10:30 at night on a weeknight in New York City. And I would imagine last night was wild. All of New York was wild. So I want to get to Katie and Bill. Katie did something big last week. We do our Tunnel to Towers bi-weekly update every other Wednesday. Frank Siller and those guys are very, very close to us. We're getting ready to commemorate 25 years of our country's worst day. And don't get me going on Pearl Harbor. I'm only 59 years old. You want to go 1A, 1B, I'm fine with that. But in my lifetime, certainly the worst day in this country's history. And Katie Pavlich showed what a great patriot she was last weekend. We will get to all of that with the host of Katie Pavlich tonight, 10 p.m. weeknights on News Nation. Katie herself, Katie Pavlich, is next on this Thursday edition. A Knick win, a big Knick win of Sid and Friends in the morning.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Mr. President, he said, tonight we're going to hit him very, very hard. And I'm taking personal interest in this because my daughter, my Ava, she's in Tel Aviv right now. And I know that Israel is not taking part in this bombing, but it doesn't matter. Iran hits him. So if Trump is true to his word and we hammer Iran later on tonight, That makes me nervous with Ava there. And, of course, I'm supposed to go to Israel a week from today. And I care less about myself and my daughter, of course, but I'm not worried about my safety. I just think they may cancel the whole trip. And I'm supposed to speak at this huge international policy summit with BB and Mike Huckabee, Mark Levin, all of us. But who knows now? So he is saying, quote, we will be hitting Iran very hard tonight. Let me get Katie Pavlich's opinion on this. Again, 10 p.m. weeknights, News Nation. My friend Katie Pavlich. Trump is once again showing the opposition the playbook. He doesn't seem to care, Katie. He says, we're coming at you later on tonight. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's past time. I think it's far past time that we take something valuable from the regime as they continued, as the Secretary of War said yesterday, tapping us along, doing what they've always done, which is lying, acting in bad faith, claiming that they want some kind of deal while they demand lots of money, which they'll use just to rebuild their ballistic missile program and ultimately their nuclear program. I think that the president should ask the American people for some more time. I keep hearing that, wow, this is dragging on. It's only been 4 months, and this is a big task ahead of us that we've been dealing with for 50 years, and it's time that it finally ends. So I respect that the president is moving forward, but I think we should have done this 3 weeks ago.
Totally agree. Tuesday night, I remember tweeting that night, I'm getting a bad feeling. It was about 6 o'clock. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, President Trump said, I'm giving him 10 more days. This is a Tuesday night, remember? And I'm like, come on. Just do it already. Stop threatening to do it. And I don't want civilians to die. I'm a nice guy. I'm a very nice guy. I don't want to see innocent people die, but this is war. Enough is enough of this nonsense. Go in there, take Kharg Island, blow it. Do what you got to do, because the constant stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, we don't look very strong. And honestly, Iran looks like at times they're holding the cards, and that's ridiculous.
Well, and ceasefires, tend to put you in a position where you have to retake ground or retake opportunities that you already fought for. Now, it seems like there was a lot going on over the last 3 weeks covertly that we haven't quite been told about yet. Yesterday, President Trump from the Oval Office said that they'd been escorting 100 million barrels of oil out of the Strait of Hormuz and out of the Gulf.
Yeah.
So that, there were some things that were happening strategically with the ceasefire that were useful. But just given the way that the regime is waiting out the president, hoping that, someone comes along next time in the White House who isn't as tough on Iran, the time to do it is now if we're going to do it. And, if you're going to go in, you should go in all the way. You shouldn't go in halfway. Right. And from the beginning, that's been Trump's posture, which is why the ceasefire was surprising. I don't think he's delusional about who these people are. I think he perfectly understands who they are and how they've behaved over the past 50 years. And you mentioned the Israelis. They may not be involved now, but they may become involved. We'll just have to see.
No, they will become involved eventually. And, the media loves Katie Pavlich, I guess, developing this lie, which they lie about everything about Israel. Israel's committing genocide. No, not even close, not even close. But they also want to build this lie that Trump and Bibi don't get along anymore. And right. Trump did admit last week that he used the F word. He doesn't care. He's done it with me. He does it with everybody. He loves you. In fact, I think if he uses the F word, that means he really loves you. But the truth is, him and Bibi have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. They love each other. They're a great 1-2 combination. In fact, I believe this is the best we've ever had with Trump in America and Bibi in Israel. And they're going to be okay. But you would admit that Israel now is in a bit of trouble because, look, Iran can't reach Brooklyn. They can't reach Cincinnati. So when things start getting rough in Iran, who do they hit? Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem. So people in Israel right now, as you can imagine, are very concerned.
Yeah, of course. But, the people in Israel want this to be finished more than anybody else.
Correct.
They're pretty furious that there's been this ceasefire, that they've been having their hands tied when it comes to taking out Hezbollah in Lebanon as their soldiers are being killed by these drones. I say ceasefire lightly. I was say Israel and the U.S. cease, and then the Iranians fire through their proxies or directly from Iran. So the president has known Bibi, as you mentioned, for a long time. I remember flying with President Trump to NATO last summer, and that was right after Midnight Hammer, and he was quite frustrated with the current situation. And then 9 months later, we conducted what we're doing now in epic fury. So, there are timelines here that we're not aware of, and I am confident that the president wants to get this job done.
And you're right about the Israelis. They want nothing short of total annihilation. They don't want to worry. You talked about if we give them money, and we better not, because, look, the truth is a deal makes no sense. Why does it make no sense? I'll tell you why. They're not going to comply. Obama and Kerry tried it. They're not going to comply. You can open the strait. You can... And then if you give them money, if God forbid we give them money, not only will they rebuild their own missiles and go further and make a nuclear weapon, that money's going right back to those terror proxies, Hezbollah and the Houthis and Hamas. Next thing you know, Israel's going to take a nuke. So you cannot give these people any money. I'm not sure we understand that, Katie.
Well, we should understand it because of their behavior over the last, even, recent history, let's just say 15 years, when, the Obama deal went through, they became even more emboldened, more violent. We're building their ballistic missile program at levels that we hadn't seen before. But the question, I think, is, are we going to continue to manage this threat? I heard Vice President J.D. Vance the other day on Fox talking about how we need verification and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, so how much of this is going to be just managing this problem as we have tried in the past, or are we going to end this threat once and for all? And so I know that's a difficult, tall task, but, we've been managing this issue for years and years, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, 47.
So are we managing it, or are we ending it?
End it. 47 years is a long enough experiment for me. Katie Pavlich,
Exactly.
The host of Katie Pavlich Tonight. She's terrific, 10 p.m. every weeknight on News Nation. So the Democrat Party has, they're rotten, they're disgusting, they're despicable people. Even people that 20 years ago were not horrible people like Chuck Schumer, they've turned into terrible people. And boy, was it on display this week up in Maine. I mean, there's not one, there's not two. There's like 10 reasons why you would hate a guy like Graham Plattner. And there's Bernie Sanders and all these Democrats from Booker to Jeffries who are not above at the very least, trying to help the guy win. Graham Plattner, if that's the face of the Democrat Party, and it is, how much trouble is that party in?
The Democratic Socialists of America are taking over the Democratic Party. They saw an opening in New York City, as you know, with Mayor Mamdani running against Cuomo, thinking that Cuomo was a bad candidate, an older candidate who, represented the establishment. They came in with someone younger and took that seat. They're doing the same thing in Maine. They saw an opportunity where the incumbent, Janet Mills, the governor who was running for U.S. Senate, who eventually dropped out of the race, that she was not what they want for the new face of the party. And they got in there, and now Graham Plattner is the nominee. They're doing this in primaries across the country, and it's a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. Whether that will be successful in the mainstream is to be seen. They, like typical communists, they talk in slick terms. They use great propaganda. It looks really nice. They make socialism look like something that is actually a successful form of governance, when we know, thousands of years of history proves that that's not true.
Right. Never works.
So they're making it look really sexy, but it's not. And so, it's to be seen whether the rest of America falls for this.
Making it look sexy. I just saw you last week on 42nd Street and 3rd Avenue. You were here, and most of my segment with you was, we talked about this young 27-year-old Jewish lady who got attacked by some maniacal black lady saying that Jewish people eat children. She pulled her hair out of her head. Another disgusting anti-Semitic attack in New York. And by the way, to this day, the mayor has still said nothing about that. So I'm not sure what sexy is these days, but you were just in New York City with this lowlife jerk-off jihadist at the helm. Sorry, Katie. You think New York looks sexy these days?
I don't think so. But, they put out this propaganda and all this stuff, just like you've seen in regimes of the past, and they make it look really, really appealing until you live in it, and it's not. So that's, it's certainly a fraudulent way to present a type of living. But when it comes to, the mayor not saying anything about that young Jewish woman who he had on the show, it's because he's fine with it. I mean, he called for intifada. His wife is, a pro-Hamas artist. I mean, these people believe in terrorism against Jews. I don't know why anybody is surprised that he wouldn't be saying anything about this.
I'm a little surprised. I thought that even though, because he is the mayor, that he'd have to push back just a little bit, but he hasn't. He never, ever says anything.
This is the guy who had Mahmoud Khalil at his house
I know.
for dinner. This is,
no. Wait a second. Forget about his house. He had Mahmoud Khalil at Gracie Mansion. Guess who pays for that place? I do. Okay, so his house is one thing. You want to have Nardine, you want to have Khalil, you want to bring over Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. You can do all that. He's doing that stuff at Gracie Mansion, Katie. And us taxpayers have to pay that bill. The California primary looks like that's finally over, and Hilton makes it. I don't think he beats Becerra anyway in November, so he makes it, but I still think the Democrat wins. Poor Spencer Pratt, who had a huge lead that night. Huge lead. He's out. Very simple question. Did they cheat, Katie Pavlich, in the state of California?
Well, the election systems in California are just set up so that Democrats never lose. They've had one party rule for decades and decades. They send ballots legally, quote, to dead people and people who have moved out of the state. I have a friend who hasn't lived in California for 15 years. He gets a ballot in the mail every single year from California. So it's like, it's illegal to show ID. They've developed the system around Democrats always benefiting, which is why you've seen one party rule and one party failure in the state, and why people can never get away from it because of the way that they've set up the systems to only benefit Democrats.
You know what I found out the night I was on your show? I got to give you credit because I was there about an hour early, had to get my makeup done, even though I'm beautiful. And just kind of...
We all got to get the makeup.
Right? I got that big shine on my forehead. But that night you actually had, it was a great job. You had the lady on, Yvette, who just won the primary for governor in the state of California. I didn't know until I was watching you that night that President Trump endorsed her and kind of stuck it to Nancy Mace. And, of course, Mace ended up getting blown out in that big primary. I know Lindsey Graham did win in South Carolina, but I learned that on your show that night. What a shocking turn of events for President Trump in South Carolina, yes?
I actually wasn't surprised that he endorsed the lieutenant governor. She has a successful track record in the state. She quietly appealed to President Trump. She's been, implementing much of his agenda in the state, working with the federal government on a lot of issues as lieutenant governor. So I wasn't surprised that he endorsed her.
But Nancy Mace is in his Congress. Not only that, but Nancy Mace was the one who alerted President Trump that George Stephanopoulos just called you a rapist 3 times, which ended up being a $15 million fine. That was Nancy Mace who did all that.
Yeah, but I think some of Nancy Mace's behavior in recent months and over the last year in South Carolina I think that the voters also had some issues with her, and President Trump wanted someone who was going to win, and that's why he endorsed Evan.
She's a little wacky, isn't she? You can say it. Come on, Katie. I won't get mad.
No, she just, threw a fit in the airport and screamed at the police. And there's just a few other things that have gone on outside of warning her about George Stephanopoulos.
I actually love her. She's been in the studio many, 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 many times. She's a good friend of mine, but it is what it is. So let me get to you. We mentioned Mamdani in New York, and right before you came on, I talked about this September 11th being the 25-year commemoration. One thing to see Rudy Giuliani sitting outside the Freedom Tower, a completely different thing seeing this anti-American hater, Mamdani. He's going to be there. But you, Katie Pavlich, congratulations. Last weekend, you completed the 10th annual Tunnel to Towers Tower Climb. More than 1,200 participants challenged themselves to climb 104 stories to the top of the World Trade Center in honor of the first responders like Steven Siller, who made that ultimate sacrifice on 9/11. Katie Pavlich, patriotic, beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was an honor to do it, and I got to the top and got overwhelmed with emotion, just given the 25th anniversary is coming up, and I just cannot believe when I was standing there thinking about those who had the choice of burning alive or jumping out of the building, that there are people who say we deserve 9/11. Absolutely infuriating, but also inspiring to see those who are related to those who ran into the towers, who were trying to save people that day and never came home. So it's the least I could do in their memory.
God bless you. Yeah, I remember the very next morning, my beautiful wife, Danielle, and I were having breakfast. We lost friends in the building that day. I was on the air with Imus at the time when those planes hit. And the cover of the New York Post were pictures of people mid-air jumping out of the building. That was the cover, September the 12th.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. And to think that this, 25 years later, we have sympathizers running New York City. It's just, it's actually hard to believe. It's surreal.
Yeah, Frank Siller, the motto for Tunnel to Towers is never forget, but clearly we forgot. Katie, you're great. Your show is great. I was honored being on your show last week. Let's do it again.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No, it was great. And you've been great on this show twice, too. So thank you for coming on this morning. And please say hello to your husband. He's one of the sweetest guys ever. I love your husband. He's a great guy.
He is. I love him, too. He's amazing. I'll tell him you said hello. Thanks for having me. Great to talk with you.
You, too. Katie Pavlich right there, folks. Check her out weeknights at 10 p.m. on News Nation. Katie Pavlich tonight. Quick break. Come back with the best ever. Was, still, will always be my man Bill O'Reilly.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Turns out that, of course, Bill O'Reilly's about to join me. He loves the Beach Boys, loves them. And Brian Wilson, according to the great Lou Ruffino, he died a year ago today. Lou, is that right?
Today's the day, yeah.
Wow.
11th, yeah.
Been a year already.
Right.
I think Bill was on last year, the day he died, too. I don't remember exactly, but... So there's a little Beach Boys for you. Bill O'Reilly was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best, whether it's every Thursday with me or Monday with Katz and Cosby. He's got his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. That's where you get the news. Does a great job. Great TV, great interviews, great columns every day. A wonderful author, 13 books in. The Killing series, his book on the presidents, I think is the best ever. I love confronting evil. He's got a brand new book coming out again this September. You can catch him on News Nation 2. Does a great job there with the likes of Chris Cuomo, Stephen A. Smith, and others. And, of course, he's got his new podcast. He just had Anthony Scaramucci on. Not a big fan, but that's fine. His podcast is great. I've been on it once myself, and it's called, of course, We'll Do It Live. Here he is, the all-time best, Bill O'Reilly. Bill, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm the same, which is tragic for everyone. No evolution here. We don't evolve.
No, I don't believe that's true because I know this. I have seen you. Now, you and I have gone together. You're very generous to a lot of Met games. A lot. You've invited me. I've been to one Knick game with you, but I see you at the Garden a lot at New York Knick games, right by Corey Zelnick there in that second row. And with the Knicks, one win away from breaking a 53-year drought. I can't believe, Bill O'Reilly, that you're the quote-unquote same today.
I don't get emotional about this stuff. It was quite a game, I'll tell you that, and it's cutting into my sleep time. These games, they last at 2 a.m.
I know.
I mean, they never, because ABC stacks them with so many commercials.
Yep.
If I see another SUV drive off a cliff, I mean, how many of these things have you got? But anyway, that was a historical game for two reasons. Biggest comeback ever. And one step closer to getting this championship that New Yorkers will always remember their whole lives. And both are good things.
Although the city has not afforded itself great. I don't know if you heard Craig Carton on earlier, but the FAN afternoon host had Jim Dolan live in studio yesterday, and he was very tough. I was happy to hear that on Mamdani. He was equally tough. I was not happy to hear that on Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner. I thought he was a bit unfair when it came to her. But either way, he thought the city was doing a really bad job, these watch parties and, pretty much shutting down all of 7th and 8th Avenue on game nights and screwing local businesses there in the city. And he seemed equally as upset with the way the city is being run as he was excited about his basketball team on the precipice of winning a championship. I'm not sure if you heard that, but that was Dolan yesterday.
Yeah, I don't really understand this. You had your watch parties in Central Park and down Lower Manhattan. You had another watch party where 17 people were arrested. One cop winds up in the hospital.
Right, that's Bryant Park, and that happened on 2 consecutive watch parties. Yeah.
So why do we have to have the watch party in a proximity of a president rolling into town? I don't understand. You want to watch, you go to a watch party in city-provided areas. I think the cops were happy and relieved that they weren't going to have confrontations, and I think Tisch did a really good job. I was there yesterday. I didn't go to the game, but I was at Moynihan Hall in Penn Station. We shot a thing with Gene Simmons, the Kiss guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where do you see this?
He's great. He's great.
It's really something. But anyway, and yeah, there was some inconvenience, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. And, we don't want anybody getting hurt. And there are a lot of loons. And if you can isolate the loons, you have to isolate them. And simple as that. Now, when the Knicks win, and I believe they will, the championship, then you're going to have another problem.
Big one. 3.5 million people. Yeah, 3.5 million people in Lower Manhattan. Good luck.
Yeah, and then a parade, and then so the more that the police can organize it so that the loons don't cluster together, the better. I don't know what the beef is. I really don't.
Well, the beef is that, people want these parties, but I'm a New Yorker, and I love the Knicks, and I love my fellow New Yorkers, but we've embarrassed ourselves the last. Now, Craig said, listen, it's only a couple of hundred out of thousands and thousands. That may be true. That's
enough to put a lot of people in the hospital.
In the hospital, and also perception sometimes is more dangerous than reality. And guess what they're showing all over the country? People getting arrested in New York. We're like Los Angeles. We're like Detroit. And we're winning. We're winning basketball games. We're playing for a championship. So, to me, I don't want any further embarrassment for the city that I love. You see, the mayor, he doesn't care, that prick, because he's all about chaos. He's all about this type of thing. He loves to see 6,000 pro-Hamas people running up and down the streets. I actually had a tweet last night, Mr. Mayor, this is not Uganda. This is not Gaza. In New York City, we don't want to see people getting beat up in the street, especially cops. But the mayor, as you know, Bill O'Reilly, he doesn't care.
Unless it's a soccer game.
Right. Right.
So if a Muslim nation advances in the World Cup, he's going to be doing cartwheels out there. I don't know if this is possible, but I would just arrest the mayor for 30 days. Is that possible?
Oh, so
just arrest him until the World Cup is over.
Oh, that'd be
because you're going to have losers at the World Cup too.
I know.
That's built into the soccer culture.
Yeah.
But as far as the Knicks are concerned, I mean, they're winning on all fronts now. Their owners should be delirious with joy. And these little nitpick things, come on.
Don't let it bother you, right? Well, we're playing for a championship.
You have
exactly.
to watch it in Central Park, and you're not standing on 31st Street. I think you can live with that.
I think so, too. So I got a buddy. His name is Russ Sullivan. He served our country proudly, Secret Service. His brothers all live in Breezy Point. They own this really famous roast beef restaurant in Brooklyn. Brennan and Carr, his brother Michael. Thomas has run for office. Brian's a cop. I mean, they're a great family. And he keeps texting me. He's upset. Why would President Trump continue to do interviews like he did last Sunday with Kristen Welker? Now, we know President Trump always says yes. He goes on with even Jake Tapper. Tapper's a little better than the MS Now and CNN people, but he's also very unpredictable. These other people, he knows what he's getting into. Do you think at some point, Caitlin Collins, do you think at some point President Trump is going to say enough is enough?
No. I had a long talk with him about this. And it was in the body of the media in general and how it's conducting itself in the USA. And his point of view is that he wants his opinion out there, and he's willing to take the wrath of the people who don't like him in the media to get the opinion out, unfiltered, and he believes that the American people have backlashed against the media so much that him just showing up is a win-win. It makes some kind of sense because there is a war between the executive branch, President Trump, and the corporate media, and Trump's winning that war. He's winning it. That was my column this week on BillO'Reilly.com. And if you just look at all of the casualty count in the corporate media, Americans, even if you don't like Donald Trump, you know that these people are trying to hurt him. That is not the role of a journalist. So Americans are rebelling. That's a pretty good word. The ratings are low for television news. The people who hate Trump, like Scott Pelley, are not there anymore. Colbert, he's just knocking them down one at a time. He's winning that war.
Although, Pelley was on a news magazine show and Colbert was on a late-night entertainment. So when is Joe and Mika going to go, or some of these other horrible people at actual news networks?
Well, a lot of them walked the line. See, Welker, when he walked in, Trump walked in, Welker could have asked all of those questions and should have, but in a non-confrontational way.
Correct.
So I've done more interviews, I think, any human being on earth. And when I want something, I'll come in confrontational. I mean, I have to tell the truth.
Sure.
Like, if you're Barney Frank and you're lying to me, I'm going to come down and the anvil is going to come down on your head.
Right.
But most of the time, I ask the question not for condemnation, but for information.
Right. And let me give you a good example of that. There are two young girls, okay? I used to like them both. Now I'm not so sure. I like one a lot. One is Rachel Scott. She works for ABC. She used to pull in for David Muir. Now Lindsay Davis does, but she's a big-time reporter. And she had a bad scrape with President Trump in Chicago when he was running a couple of years ago. You may remember that. And the other is Caitlin Collins, CNN. They can ask the same question. And President Trump will not get angry with Rachel Scott, but he'll embarrass Caitlin Collins every time because for some reason, I know you like her, I don't, and I was friendly with her. I try to help her. I would text her and say, Caitlin, take it easy. Every now and then, tell him he looks good. Then clobber him about Iran. But you can't walk in there every time and look to fight with this guy at every opportunity. Rachel and Caitlin can ask the same question, but Caitlin's in trouble every time because she doesn't get it. You can't be that way every single time.
And it's after the fact that he objects to most. So what they do, and what Ms. Collins does, is, they'll do a Trump, and then they'll load up the panel with four people who hate Trump and one person who doesn't hate him so much, but who's got tape over his or her mouth. So it's stacked. The deck is stacked. You know when you just turn on CNN or MS or whatever it is, and you look at the panel, it's stacked against Trump. That's what drives him crazy. And the Collins is a show every night that does that.
Yep.
Rachel doesn't.
No.
All Rachel has is access to Trump once in a while. And apparently, I don't know this to be true because I'm not privy to it, she's respectful to Trump.
No, she is. And I talked to her quite a bit. She is the ABC White House correspondent. I'm not sure she voted for Trump. I doubt she did. But she is respectful, and she even likes him. I got to be honest. And I'm not sure Collins didn't like him not that long ago. I think when people come into business contact with Trump before it gets ugly, I think you like him.
He's got a very interesting personal presentation, Trump.
Yeah.
Okay? And it works a lot of the time. He's a flatterer. He flatters. But with Collins, he believes that she's in business to make him look bad.
And he's right, and she is. So I'm sure tonight she's going to be going on and on. But, he wants Kharg Island. He's telling Iran, I'm warning you now, it's happening tonight. Tonight, not sometime in the next couple of days. Not get ready. Tonight we're going to hit you very, very hard. What does that mean for Iran? What does it mean for Israel? What does it mean for a potential deal, which is never going to happen, ever, ever, ever? And if it does, they're never going to comply. What does all this mean, all these threats coming from Trump today?
Well, I was trying to think of a plan B, just for discussion's sake. So what you just said is true. Yes, these mullahs are not going to, give up their ability to make a nuclear weapon.
Ever.
And they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to tell Hamas and Hezbollah to stand down. They're not going to do any of that. Okay, so then what? You're at an impasse. They're going to continue their terrible behavior, their threatening behavior, and you're the most powerful man in the world and the only leader who gives a fig about this. The others don't care, which is shocking. Okay? So what do? And you have to basically make it so painful that the country of Iran cannot function. Okay? And they're close to doing that. 80% inflation in Iran. That means people are having trouble buying bread.
Yeah, but they don't care. That's the problem.
Well,
it's not the regime. It's not the regime. Yes, some of them are struggling to go to Afghanistan, but those guys are doing fine. They don't care about the civilians if they starve to death. It means nothing. What good is that?
The folks in Iran care.
What are they going to do? They don't have guns.
You can't feed your children, and this is what I wrote this because there was an overthrow of the Shah. And I wrote about how that happened in Confronting Evil. And so what Israel and America are trying to do is make it almost impossible for the mullahs to function on a day-to-day basis.
Well, Bill, let's be practical, okay? Let's say, you're right, they make it impossible for the mullahs to function. Let's say the people, like you just talked about, you're 100% right, they want to take over like they did back in 1979. Who's going to arm them? You can't. They already mowed down 40,000 in the streets. They don't have guns, okay? They're going to lose. So are we going to arm these people? Who's going to make the civilians threatening? Who?
Well, first of all, you go on a general strike. All right, so nobody does anything. You're not making any money anyway because 80% inflation,
Right.
Everything. So you've got to band together, and you have to tell the government nobody's working, nobody's going out of the house, nobody's going to do anything because we don't want you. You're killing our families. That's how a lot of these insurrections begin, with a general strike.
Gotcha.
Okay? So the people are basically sending a message, we don't want this anymore. And then as far as arms are concerned, you're at the mercy of killers. You're right. That's the only reason they're there. That would have been overthrown a long time ago. Okay? But you have to organize yourself. The people have to organize themselves. And say, okay, we can do this, we can do that. Here's what our strategy is. Now, I don't know, maybe they're doing it because there's no reporting coming out of Iran. You can't get anything in and out of there.
Nope.
But what's likely to happen is that the U.S. and Israel are going to really bomb all the facilities in Iran that get anything to the people. They're just going to wipe them on out. All the oil, everything. All right, boom, 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 boom. And then the Iranian people have a choice. You can either overthrow the mullahs or starve to death. Because they will literally starve to death.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
What a nightmare. Well, thank God this segment was great, though.
We always look at it from a personal point of view.
That was a great 18 minutes of radio. I'm sorry for the poor people in Tehran this morning, but that was a great 18 minutes of radio, and that's the case every week, Bill. You're magnificent at this. You're so good. I love you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you having me, Sid.
Come on, please. I appreciate you coming on. The honor is mine. The great Bill O'Reilly, the best ever, with us every Thursday and just does a tremendous job. Check him out at BillO'Reilly.com. We'll take a break. Nomi's got the news. We got about 40 more minutes before Brian Kilmeade takes over with his great midday show. This has been a tremendous edition, the Thursday edition on a Knickerbocker win. Sid and Friends in the morning.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The mayor's office, and I'm sorry, the commissioner too, right, do not have the experience to do this, right?
That's Mayor Mamdani and Jessica Tisch, who's the police commissioner.
I mean, they have never managed anything like this before, and it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's coming out the sides. And, you know, I think that's part of, we're seeing a lot of fear from the mayor's office, a lot of anxiety. They're sitting there trying to say, well, we're big Knicks fans, but they're not Knicks fans.
He called the Garden a stadium. How big a Knicks fan is he?
He's not a Knicks fan.
Kicks it out in the corner. Brunson gets it back. Brunson on the drive. The floater's up. Shot won't go. Rebound deflected. In the backcourt. Fox has a chance to get it. Fox has it inside. Blocked by Anunoby. 9 seconds remaining. 6 seconds remaining. And Mike Brown, or they call a foul. They had a foul to give. So the Knicks will have to inbound.
It might just go flat for Jalen Brunson. Allow him to operate at the top, 1-on-1.
Brunson gets it, fires up a three. Shot no good. The tip, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. With 1.2 remaining. Knicks take the lead. OG Anunoby, and it's 107-106. Bedlam here at the Garden. They can't believe it. Brunson's shot looked good and just came up short. No timeouts left. They have to get it in. Harper lobs it inside. Castle hasn't lost it. That's it. It's over. The greatest comeback in NBA playoff history. The Knicks pull off the miracle comeback and lead it 3-1. Now 1 win away from a title.
Take us through the game-winning play, the inbounds and the tip-in.
Got the ball to Jalen. He got a good look, and I just crashed and went for the ball.
You make it sound so easy, but tell me what's going through your mind as it's all unfolding.
Oh, just do whatever it takes to win, you know? I mean, our thing is crashing. I think it's crashing the glass and second chance opportunities. So I just try to make a play.
OG, how did this happen? You guys were down 29. How did this happen?
We're resilient, you know. We never give up, you know. It's a game of runs. They went on a run early. We knew we were going to go on our own run, so we just stayed with it, kept pushing.
29 points, though. When you're down 29, what were you guys saying to each other?
Just stay with it, you know. It's a game of runs. We believe in ourselves. We've come back before. We're battle-tested. We're mentally tough. We're a resilient group, so we just stay with it.
When you took the lead in the fourth quarter, what did this building feel like to you? We know what it felt like for us. What did it feel like for you?
It's electric. There's nothing like it. I mean, you see the fans, best fans in the world. It's amazing.
3-1 series lead going to San Antonio. How do you close it out in Texas?
By watching the film, fixing the stuff we messed up on to be down 29 in the first place, and coming out and just being aggressive from the start.
Congratulations to you, OG.
So excited, baby. Started there with Jim Dolan, a guest on Chris and Craig and C-Mac, I should say. My dear friend Craig Carton, who did join us earlier this morning, Hall of Fame afternoon host on WFAN, telling us what I've been saying for better than a month. Mayor Mamdani is not a Knicks fan. That is a joke. He can take all the pictures he wants, go to the Garden, wear his stupid John Starks jersey. John's not stupid. I love John, but he's a phony. He's a fraud. And every bit as bad as him is the governor, that wicked witch wench who goes on Twitter after a Knicks win right away and posts, "Way to go, New York. We got you. We love you." Shut up. Mamdani's not a Knicks fan. Kathy Hochul's not a Knicks fan. And Jim Dolan said it, which I've been saying since the Hawks series over a month ago. Then you heard the call. Mike Breen, the greatest. Mike Breen, the Anunoby tip off the Brunson miss, but all that was made possible by a bonehead play by a veteran who should know better, De'Aaron Fox, who had the basketball with a 1-point lead with 11 seconds left and decided to take a shot. To stand there, hold the ball, get fouled, and odds are San Antonio wins the game. De'Aaron Fox made a huge blunder. Not small, huge. He cost his team the game. And he's a good player and a smart player. And that enabled the Knicks, or gave the Knicks an opportunity to do what they did, which did require amazing play on both ends of the court by OG, a block a shot on defense, then the tip in on offense. Neither one of those were easy, but never would have happened if Fox just holds on to the basketball. Either way, we got a Game 5 in San Antonio coming up on Saturday night, and our Knickerbockers have a chance to exercise all the demons, all the horrible, tough losses, and bring home a championship to Madison Square Garden for the Knicks for the first time in 53 years. We'll take a break. I'll come back and wrap things up. It's been a tremendous Thursday show. Sid and Friends in the morning.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, good stuff. That was fun today off the big Knick win last night. Great guests all morning long. Rich Lowry was here today, and Joe Benigno, Craig Carton, Katie Pavlich, the great Bill O'Reilly. A lot of Knick talk, a lot of other talk too. Iran. We're taking Kharg Island. Like Noam says, take Kharg Island plus the points. I love that, Noam. That's brilliant. Take Kharg Island plus the points. Trump says we're going to hit you very hard tonight if you're Iran. So now we get back to the newsy stuff because the Knicks don't play again until Saturday. Great show today. As always, Lou Ruffino. Tremendous. Justin Ellick. Great job. Noam Layden. Great job. As our dear friend Gene says, and this is Inshallah in English. God willing, we'll all be back for a 6 a.m. Friday show tomorrow. We play soccer tomorrow. World Cup action. U.S. taking on Paraguay. And basketball again in Texas Saturday with the Knicks and Spurs. Until tomorrow, from all of us on Sid and Friends in the morning, to all of you, New York, peace. Let's go Knicks!
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Get ready, Staten Island. The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Today, it's a doubleheader starting at 4 p.m. with Jewish Heritage Night. As for this game, the Ferry Hawks will play as the Staten Island Menches. Friday at 7 p.m., it's soccer night, and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.